Hey, it's 2 o'clock. We will call to order the regular board meeting for Georgetown Revised Public Utility District. And we'll get a roll call, please.
Director Seaman. Present. Director McDonald.
Present.
Director Stovall.
Present.
Director Fisher.
Present.
Director Saunders.
Present. If Director McDonald can lead us in the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody's in person today.
Okay, adoption of the agenda. I have two items. One, we'd like to pull the table the public hearing until next month due to the urban water management plan, due to the legal comments that were made.
The last minute drop off of information. Yes, I think it's great.
And also we will have
Learn to be friends.
No, I'm just, in fact, you don't know.
also a
It
time
wasn't Frank's fault.
sensitive items, so we will allow our when one of our Mountain County executive directors to come on to talk about the sponsorship. So when he's available, we will move the agenda item for him, and the same if necessary for our strategic planning person.
That'll be item 11.
Any other updates or comments from the board members?
If we could target no later than 5:30 to wrap up tonight.
I think we're trying to do for less than that.
Okay, that would really help me out a lot.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, so we're pulling 11, which is legislative victims.
We're not pulling,
We're
we're offering disability.
buffering time availability. The one we are tabling is, we will table item
One.
18, the public hearing.
Invectus will not be joining us today. They joined us 2 meetings ago.
And we will allow flexibility for item 12 and item 11, because there's if anybody shows up that can that's on those items, we will have them. We do have a Mountain County issue on 11.
And what is,
All right, any public comments on the agenda? All right,
agenda?
on the agenda.
So
Okay.
the 11 and 12, you said may or may not.
They will occur just time, if someone comes in, we will move it in so they can get in and out.
And then you can cancel a public hearing like that.
yeah,
We will just, move
Yeah.
it till
As long as the public notice is reposted, yes.
So that got posted to cancel it.
well. it just
No,
got-
no, as long as the public hearing notice for the new date is posted.
Information Commission.
No problem.
So
did
I miss it and the new date?
Yes,
been
posted.
We will,
No,
it's
no,
just been
never
announced now, so we will,
It will be
post it.
posted.
But there's no date.
It will be our next meeting.
Okay.
All right, any other public comments? Okay, seeing none, close public comments.
Can I, okay, on one of them, would need to be. I'm not sure what 12 is.
I believe 12 is the strategic planning.
Oh, that one, okay.
Yes.
You all requested us to bring it back so you could approve his contract after
Okay,
full review.
never mind, then I take it all back.
Okay.
I was wondering if he was another contract. I forgot what I read.
All right. Is there a motion from the board?
Motion approval of agenda is modified.
I'll second it.
I
You
think
don't have to speak up.
I think we have Director McDonald made the second there. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
For scissors.
Okay, agenda is passed as amended. Okay, opening up for public comments, 3-minute time limit per speaker. And this is for any items which are not on the agenda. I will open up the public comment. Mr. Dowd.
Yeah, Stephen Dow, hi board. in a long time.
Good afternoon.
Seeing as how we're swimming in all this money now, I'm wondering if we could get back to our goal of helping the ratepayers, maybe lowering the rate instead of, the automatic increase, lowering it back to something reasonable. And, I don't know. Thought that's what we're here for. Thinking of the ratepayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dowd. Sure.
And right, I just have one quick comment. I was just gonna say that the new AI minutes that you put that are in today's packet are excellent. Thank you very much. I appreciate that you acted on that and made it much easier to follow and know exactly what people say. So thank you.
Thank you.
If I can add to that, those are far from the AI minutes that come.
Oh.
That is an extraordinarily heavy lift for our executive
Well,
assistant.
whatever you did.
That takes like almost 2 whole days to put together.
Any other public comments? Seeing none, I will close public comments and we can also entertain your comments during our budget review, Mr. Dowd, because that's exactly what we did bring up at the finance committee as well, so. And thank you, Taylor, for the minutes there. I saw them as well. I was like, oh, this is beyond AI as well, so I'm sure that is very helpful. Okay.
But also on the minute, I really appreciate the ability to search through the minutes by word. And then I can go back and hear the details in there. My concern is that the time that goes into it. And I don't think we need to have it included in the minutes for the board packages here. I would much rather see it identified where that source is, where we can go to it. I don't see the need for the printing and so on.
Well, that would be what's the board pleasure on that,
That's an opinion also.
or the staff's opinion on that.
Would it be better, I'm sorry. Could it be better to have it as a request and the request then give it to the whoever needed it, wanted it?
Well, I mean, we kind of need a copy of it with our minutes, so it needs to show up in the minutes, whether it shows up in the package or just online is.
Well, no, what I'm saying is. Director Stovall is saying we don't need it so much in our packet, but we had a request for it to be there. And so maybe instead of having it printed X number of times, it's like, kind of like a PRA where it goes directly to the person who is requesting it. Instead of printed out to all of us, unless we need it.
Well, it needs to be in the packet because there's a lot of people that'll be using it that are not gonna request it, so this way it's available to everybody, so. The question is, do we want it in our packets or just online? That's what I would say.
I think that's what I just said.
Clarify my request.
Isn't that what he just said, what he just,
Well, no, you said to have it so it just goes to the person that requested it, which is, I'm not sure if you mean the public or the board members,
what, not to the board members, because that's where it's all being printed out.
right?
But we had one of our public request it.
Correct.
And so if we make sure it would be like I said, a PRA where someone is requesting this information, she gets it hard copy to her. We don't need it done to each one of us. That's what I just said again. Did we get this
I
right?
agree.
Okay, that's what I thought I said.
Work the fifth.
So my basic concern with this, one, I agree, it's a great reference work. I mean, just looking back at at our conversation, great reference work. My concern is it parallels the recording that we have online. And just in talking to Taylor, it sounds like there is a tremendous amount of editing work, even with AI, not the least of which is that AI doesn't differentiate between voices in the room. So I think AI the technology needs to improve somewhat. I think there is kind of a problem. When we say I motion approval of these minutes, we're kind of putting a stamp of accuracy on that. We're saying that we read them and approve, and yet there's this recording, and then there's an AI process and then an editing process And something I think is necessarily going to be lost in translation. I even found quite a few just sort of minor differences between what I believe I said and how it got recorded and things like that. I think for me, it would be good to take what AI downloads with somehow come to a reasonable modicum of editing to make it, cursory view to make sense. Stamp it with the big draft for reference work, for reference only kind of a thing, make it available. But I think the record is the motions that we make and the recording. To me, that is the record. That is the most accurate record. It's just a little hard for me to, put a stamp of accuracy on that and say this matches the recording exactly, because I don't think it does exactly. You did a tremendous job. But
this is an AI, correct?
And I would
This is-
also, go ahead, Director.
I was just saying, this is an AI, this is something she had to do physically.
It's
combination.
AI records it all and then I have to go through and fact check it and make sure that
Okay.
we aren't mumbling or it picks up things correctly. Cause there have been things like you said ALT one time and it said something completely off base. So
Maybe I was thinking this.
So I have to go through and make sure that it matches what I'm able to hear in the recording. So there is a little bit of, I can only hear so much when we mumble, and I'm guilty of it too. It picks up me saying things incorrect.
Director Bonds?
Yeah, I was gonna say, as far as referencing, where I want or think I need to be, this timestamp nomenclature is much to the directly where I want to go than the voice recording. So it's nice to have this as a backup and maybe commingle in some of what Andy was referencing, where it doesn't have to be word perfect.
Well, what I would suggest is, the only thing that the directors are approving when we do approve the minutes is the actual pages that ends at, the adjournment. So that's the minutes we approve.
Okay.
So the AI stuff, that's just the supplemental information that goes along with the recording.
It should be labeled as such, I think.
So we can, label that this is, supplemental to the recording. And then for me, I would like it in the packet, because this way I can review it, because if there are any changes or things that are wrong or something that got caught off of the AI, then we can correct it and give it back. So for me personally, I'd like to keep it for me. If no one else wants it in theirs, they can have it out of theirs, but
You
I'd like
can
it
have
in
a
mine.
personal request.
When it's not on YouTube, right?
Hmm?
You're still working, getting the recordings on YouTube?
They're all on YouTube.
I was able to take
They're not.
a timestamp on the printout here and go directly to what I said. And so that was very convenient.
Yeah,
It is, so 2026 on here?
Mhm.
Absolutely, it was
On YouTube.
talking about, I won't say it.
And the irrigation meeting.
So it sounds like this is it's a good adjunct. We'll see how long Taylor can do it. If it's something that is causing our executive assistant too much work, then we could revisit it. It sounds like which directors wanted in the packet, we can do that now, so we don't have to put in everybody. So it sounded like Director Seaman and Director Stovall did not want it. Director McDonald?
If it's gonna be, she's gonna have to figure out who wants it every time, and it might get in you and get in mine instead, and it's more of a problem than wasting paper. I could do without, but I'll go with the consensus.
And I would like mine, and it sounded like Director Fisher would like his, so that sounds like 2 out of 3. That's our PRA. And then it will be online, so everybody online will be able to do it, because there's 3,779 connections that are not here to weigh in, so we want to make sure it's available.
Now you're having to do a PRA because of me.
No, I mean, that's,
It's like a PR. It's a
it's not, it's our personal request.
Whatever's easiest to understand.
All right.
Well, it'd be easiest on her if she didn't have to do it at all.
I don't want to be that vote.
All right, so with that, is there anything else on the consent agenda that anybody would like to bring up? Okay, seeing none, I'll open it up to public comment on the consent agenda.
I just was wondering how they got my name on recording, so now I know they had to go through and quit. That's what took the time.
Because you're a person on there, it shows your name automatically, but because our camera is GDPUD, that's where I have to go through and figure out who's talking at what time.
Okay.
Oh,
Really bad, I thought, okay, this is smart, but
Okay, I'll close public comments. Do a board motion on the consent calendar.
Move to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second it.
Motion in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 5, financial reports. Any board comments on this? I can always go to public comments and come back if we don't
I'm
have
trying to find them.
actual one. Wait a second. Looks like everybody's looking for something. Nothing good. All right, we will open it up for public comments and come back to the board.
So
Sherry?
the vendor, since this is the new program, so the vendor report usually says from July 1st. So we just assume it's from July 1st. The other one said 7/1/25. The title.
That's on the vendor purchasing report.
Yeah, vendor purchase.
So the one that says 5/6/26/11/34.
That's 5/6/26. Where are you looking? Page 24?
Yes,
Right, so is this the year and date? Yes. That we just assume, and then the other one is checks,
yes.
so that these are all.
Okay. Any other public comments? Okay, closing public comments. Bring it back to board for any questions, comments.
Donna?
Director Sue?
Why, am I the only one that has public comments on, or comments on this stuff?
Well, I went through it already. I had the option of.
Yeah.
Finance
Yeah.
committee.
We would have had it.
Yes.
2 days ago.
Okay. No, I've got other things to, that I'm focused on today.
All right, with that,
I do have one for the grant, report I'd like to add, if you
Okay.
don't mind.
gentlemen,
We got notice, I believe Monday, one of our appropriations was picked up by Senator Padilla. $5 million for development of a hydroelectric facility at Stumpy Meadows Dam. So that's, gonna be, hopefully, this is the second time it's been approved now. But hopefully this is the charm and we get to, actually receive that money and start to develop a hydroelectric facility there at the bottom of the dam. So it's great news. I haven't added to the grant report yet because quite literally, we just found out about this on Monday. And it will be, hot off the presses for next month.
So that's under grant tracking.
so that'll be grant tracking and it does show up in my legislative report because, that just did report it, so I stuck it in there also.
What's the name of the grant program, or is that just a direct appropriation?
That was appropriation from Senator Padilla.
Called community-based funding.
Okay, motion to adopt the financial reports. So move. That was the second.
On the grant.
We'll bring it back to public for the grant.
Is that a matching grant or is that?
Typically, they're 25%, but we have other projects that we can utilize to match with. So as long
Well,
as,
it's gonna. 20 million. Bill?
25% of 5 million, so.
Oh, 25, okay,
sorry,
so it's gonna, what's it gonna take to build something like that product?
it's about $5 million.
Okay.
So, but we have other so it's. Granting is, sometimes we can play a little bit of a shell game. We can
Yeah.
utilize projects that we're doing. other projects that are related, and we can use those as match funds. As long as we do NEPA on them, we can use them to match. So as long as we have a state project, we can utilize NEPA and match some of those funds to the 5 million. So it's not gonna cost more than the 5 million. But we do have to account for other things. We also can do in-kind labor costs. There's all kinds of ways that we can match the funds.
Right, and then we benefit from the electricity that's generated.
It's gonna be a district-owned facility.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other public comments on the grant? Seeing none, close public comments. Is there a motion to adopt the financial reports?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, board reports, Director Seaman.
I only attended the Mountain Counties in April. Nothing really that affected us at all. There was trying to organize Mountain Counties a little bit more on their legislative. They've now got it where only 2 members of each agency can attend. The legislative end of the Mountain Counties. And they had nothing there before.
Thank you.
Can I?
From your-
I wanna make sure I understood, heard you correctly. Can you say that one more time?
So,
Two
two people from any agency that is paying money into Mountain Counties can be on or be a part of the legislative committee for Mountain Counties.
I thought you were talking about this, the ledge dates. I apologize. I missed the words.
Legislative committee.
Totally got you.
So,
Got it.
so that policy was put in place as requested and recommended by Director Seaman to help avoid one agency having the ability to have 3 or 4 people, whereas some only have 1, so.
Smart.
And it may be that they're gonna have to change it again if we got 30 different members and there's 60 people that wanna be on the committee, so they may have to streamline it tighter.
Yeah, so far we
But for right
have
now,
wealth of openings, so. People aren't knocking down the doors, but we will keep your recommendations in mind.
yeah.
And if you can call Justin if he's available, because he'll be coming up when I'm up.
Are you doing your board report or are you doing a ledge report?
Oh, ledger report, all right, never mind, yep, we got times. Director McDonald.
I didn't have any official functions that I attend, but I had something to share with respect to encouragement and for the board and staff and the employees. So I came across a board member at Auburn Lake Trails and I didn't think he recognized me, but he asked me how things were going on the board. And I told him I wasn't sure he remembered me, and I thanked him for letting me put my campaign sign on the lawn 6 years ago. He said he's been following the board for a long time and feels things have really stepped up in his word for the current board. I thanked him for his positive feedback and support. I also mentioned that we need more community members and ratepayers like you to attend board meetings and share their perspectives. Since typically when comments are made, we hear from the vocal minority and not always positive. So it was nice to hear that. I added that many don't recognize that this is a new board, a cast of members, and with a different approach than previous boards, perhaps bringing a new culture and management style with strong emphasis on accountability and transparency. And I said, if it's all right, I'd like to share this with the board. So that's for staff and board. It's recognized as a whole. Things have really stepped up, whatever that meant to him. And I also wanted to mention that I was at church Sunday, and Mr. Russo came up with me with a constituent and said that we have a problem, Houston, and he couldn't get through on the emergency line this weekend. So I got right on it, and within 26 minutes, Randy called me, and he said he couldn't get through, not knowing where the emergency push button was. It was after hours referred to. And I tried it myself and I got a hold of Randy and I got the wrong number. But ultimately, he said the water outage, it happened at 4 a.m.-ish, was jumped right on and was taken care of and probably completed, I think it was, by that time I even called. And I got back to the member before church was out. And I said, I talked to the GM about, what we could do to help simplify the process. Like if this is an emergency or you'd like to leave a message for response during normal business hours, press 1, just so they got emergency. So I was waiting to find an emergency press number. And so Nicholas said he would look at that and revise to make it a little more clear. And then Adam followed up again before I got off service. So it was a backup to Randy. And at the end of the day, the morning, that's what had transpired. So that's all good. He did also mention, well, the road's still in disrepair. I go, oh, okay, but we'll take care of that. But so thanks for your crew and the staff and everybody's quick response. And it's nice to be able to hear that and share that. And that's all I have.
If I could just add to that, just for the public's
It
edification,
wasn't in your neighborhood.
There's in your neighborhood.
I know.
Overton, sorry.
just for the public's edification, that was Mother's Day, so our staff was out there on Mother's Day. Spending time with their water district as opposed to spending time with their mother, so we appreciate all that they do.
Pretty close.
We're pretty close, yeah.
Thank you.
Make somebody's mother happy by getting that water back.
Yeah, cause that's been an ongoing problem where you have to know, you have to walk through it and know what you have to push to get past.
It's just one, all you do is press one, it says right on there to press one to speak to an operator.
I guess we'll just clarify it for,
And
because
We're gonna work on the
people are
language.
looking for emergency when they have no water emergency, I understand that, so.
just a little bit, you know, a little bit more customer
A little clearer.
clear. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
Overall good.
Thank you. Treasurer Stover.
I attended the JPIA and Aqua official event and will be submitting my notes for the minutes.
Thank you. Vice President Fisher.
Had two events this month, also attended the Aqua Conference last week, which I thought was very enlightening, especially for somebody new on the board and learning it. Particularly the JPIA, didn't know too much about that organization, but 350 of Aqua's roughly 450 members are part of the pooled insurance, which I think is it's a great thing. So most of the insurance that serves our industry in California is self-insured as a pool, where the directors, the governance of that insurance is dedicated to the interests of those participating agencies like us and not to stockholders, shareholders, things like that. So that was, yeah, I do also have some notes, some things that they're working on in the future, changing formulas for how districts are either incentivized or penalized for claims that could affect us. So we need to keep our eye on some of the things that they're doing. But yeah, very, very good conference, learned an awful lot. Also at Aqua, working groups like the Headwaters Group, like us, the ones that maintain the reservoirs that feed everybody else. Had a vocal presence there, eyes on energy, what to do about energy generation, things like that. So learned an awful lot, great group. The other thing I attended on with Nick, our general manager, on the 23rd of April was the annual agricultural dinner sponsored by the Agricultural Commissioner's Office. So some of the things that we're witnessing in terms of declining irrigation sales, they're also intimately aware of. You know, some of the takeaways that I got from that dinner: 80% of working land in El Dorado County is out of production. 50% of the grape crop stayed on the vine last year. And El Dorado County has the oldest demographic of farmers in California. So they are intimately concerned with that, as we are as well. And I think building that relationship with ag, and they're brainstorming a lot of ideas. They've got grant money to try to see what they can do to re-incentivize agriculture, to leverage the benefits we have, to leverage the tourism that we have with Coloma, with the Rubicon Trail, things like that. So they've got some good ideas of how to re-energize agriculture. And I think having those relationships with agriculture is going to benefit us as well. So be reporting on that to the irrigation committee next time we'll meet as well.
Thank you, Director Fisher. For me, my reports there will probably show up in the minutes next time. Some of the key things that I attended, the Sacramento Regional Water Authority, I believe it was 2 days ago, I did the water forum signing. That's the 2050 agreement signed for RWA. One of the things is we do have a that was what we talked about, is possibly joining the Water Caucus down the line, because they do have an American River Conservancy program. And it's planning on how to manage the American River, and most of those agencies are below Folsom, and we have a large part of what's going down to them. So that's something we should consider being a part of, because it's our water they're talking about managing. The associate, well, let me go to the other stuff. Other things, Sierra Nevada Conservancy, so we joined that organization. I went to their legislative advocacy day last week. And also Department of Water Resources, I'm part of the study group, so it's the impact of SB 1157. That's the outdoor residential and indoor residential water conservation. So we're going over to see if there's any changes or updates that need to be made. So if we're looking at all of the impacts on that. I did attend Aqua JPIA and the Aqua Conference, and I'll do a verbal report on it now. So the JPIA, I do have the what's the next program. So as we talked about, Aqua JPIA is where all of our insurance comes from, our property, liability, workers' comp, health benefits, cybersecurity, crime, all of that goes through our JPIA. And the benefit of it is unlike regular insurance, we're in a powered joint attorney, so every one of us are board members. And what they used to do is any claims or anything that we paid that we didn't use as our premium used to come back to the district in cash. But now what they're doing is they're pulling that into a reserve, basically to keep health insurance from going way up. So they dip into the reserves to help cover health insurance and liability. So we haven't gotten checks back yet, so it's trying to keep the programs from going up. The other benefit that we do have is every year they do come to site to do a risk assessment profile. So they go through the entire district, and they meet, usually Adam takes them around, and they give us some suggestions on what to do for updates. They have safety programs, and we do get a safety budget from them to help with our employees as well. But for coming up next year, 2026-27, property program, we will see a 5% rate increase. So liability program, we will see a 5% rate increase, which is pretty good, especially since we had the big fires happen down in Southern California. The big thing that keeps our liability down is we are self-insured. So JPIA created a captive, so they have their own insurance fund. And that's the basis, so that's the bottom line, and then we have reinsurers on top of that, so that's what keeps our liability down. And as Director Fisher was talking about, they're looking at some other ways to help offset some of the insurance, like wildfire. So they're doing earthquake, and they're looking into parametric or other options to help with wildfire insurance. Workers' comp, that hasn't changed for probably the last 15 years. It's not increased or decreased, and that's because they do a good job going to all the agencies and keeping all the employees pretty much making the safety program as good. Employee benefits, that's the one we can't control, that's health insurance. But depending on the program, some actually went down 20%, but some's going up 10%. So we'll probably see an increase of 10% overall. That was the JPIA. With the Aqua programs itself, as Director Fisher talked about, some of the main impacts that affect us is with the headwaters. We're looking at ways to combine energy with the headwaters, because right now we look at water resiliency liability. And what happened was there was a group, I think I talked about it last month, that put in a petition to the California Air Resource Control Board on making reservoirs and dams have to report for CO2 and methane. And it's like, it kind of doesn't look at the impacts of reservoirs and dams for providing water, that it already does provide the habitat. It's a natural habitat. It's not like we're doing anything that's causing that, and also the energy production. So kind of tie in the hydroelectric with the headwaters as well, because when you look at the map of the headwaters and where all the hydro is, it also matches that. So not only do we provide 60 to 70% of all the treated water in California, probably about the same 60-70% of green hydro energy as well. And we were the finalists for the Clear Hill Awards. So here it is there, and there's a little picture of, I believe it's myself, Andy, and Nick in my report. So that was.
Stovall walked up just a moment after we took the picture.
He missed getting in the picture, but that's an award for innovation. We were one of the 4 finalists, and that was for fire vegetation mitigation and fuel reduction project that we did. So that was pretty good that we were one of the top 4. And do you have anything else to add to that, Nicholas?
Nope.
And that ends my report and my aqua report. And I also provided a handout from UWR from the climate adaptation strategies, which everyone has. I brought from the conference, so I brought you guys some stuff. All right, open it up for public comment.
Who's Claire A. Hill?
He was a engineer, a fairly famous engineer who worked on the State Water Project.
In the 1800s?
State Water Project was built in the 60s.
Not that far back, about the 60s, 70s.
The award's pretty prestigious. It is the award for outstanding project amongst all 450 participating agencies in Aqua. So to make the top 4 is pretty good.
The winning project was an electrification project, which we all raise our eyebrows on, but it did create a entire charging infrastructure for fleets, not only for its agency, but all the municipal agencies around it. So good luck for those people that can actually use electric vehicles. Any other public comments? Okay, seeing none. All right, that moves us to operations report. Any questions on the operations? I believe I had one. No one else has it. I actually had 2. So I guess we're still spilling?
Yeah.
So what is the distribution system sampling station? Because I have one outside of Aaron Tool, and people are like, what is this?
Yeah, so say if we have a water quality complaint or a break or something, like we collect samples to make sure, once we turn the water back into service, it's meets standards. So sometimes it's really difficult to get those from residents, so we're installing them around the distribution system, make it simpler and easier for us to do that. It also helps out treatment to go out and check for disinfection byproducts within the system.
So is this one covering the big break they fixed down inside Aaron Cool, or is this the one that was fixed right at the site?
So this will just be used for any breaks moving forward, so they're generally located so we can use them for a lot of different reasons.
Okay.
Not one specific break.
All right.
There's also one in front of Northside Drive there.
Yep.
And also we have some garden boundary going on the other side that we have long runs with no sampling stations at the ends of these distribution means. We'd like to ensure the water quality is good.
All right, thank you. And thank you for separating out the CII and landscape, because it kind of does show that residential has been sticking to about the same. What I did see with the numbers for CII were kind of doubled and tripled over the last 2 months. So are we following the best management practice yet for the top 10%? If they're showing too high, are we gonna start implementing that, or that didn't start yet?
Well, I think our numbers are really skewed because of how little customers we have.
Right.
One customer will impact it a lot. I do want to point out too, that those are in gallons per day, not gallons per capita per day.
Oh, okay.
Because we don't collect connections per or
For them
people.
specifically.
Yeah, for commercial services. So it's kind of almost apples and oranges. So you got to take that into account when you look at it.
Okay. Thank you. And that was all my questions for that. Any other directors? Okay, seeing none, public comments, Sharif?
You have a question on the Walton and the Sweetwater? You just coated, or these like spill basins or something?
Yes, they're overflow basins for process. They'll have like a containment area. So over time they wear out, so we.
Because they fill up and they.
Yeah, sometimes they can, or just the coating just wears out over time. They may not spill a lot, but those wear over time. So like Walton will have, it's in the chlorine storage or chlorine.
That's what that is there.
Yeah, and that's just, the chlorine is corrosive, you know. even-
Yeah, right.
So,
So that's all Walton and then that's Sweetwater.
the two on the only one, Walton on the bottom right.
That one's in there.
Yeah.
Mr. Daff?
Adam, how much rain did you guys measure for this season? I got over 60 inches.
A little like this on that.
Yeah, that's the next report.
Oh,
Okay.
But I think it was what, 50, did you get?
In the east storm.
Like
About
this year's total?
No, from October.
Oh,
That's the season, right? When it starts raining?
Yeah.
so next report.
Yeah, I did like it.
I don't know off the top of my head.
If we have numbers, we'll come back to that for
I
you.
did have, one complaint or one, somebody brought it up, there's some rounds that are, along Walton. And they're getting pushed, trees that have been downed and then they put them into rounds and.
Yeah.
There are people kicking those into the lake. So they recommended that. Wanna let me know, so I pass it on to maybe get those out of there, so we don't have them going into the lake.
Okay, yeah,
At
so
Walton.
it was kind of disappointing. We did all the clearing there and then we had that storm that broke all the trees off and we did have crowds for come in and do in rounds and all that stuff, so I can.
Yeah, but that's what they were saying, they've been noticing people pushing them in.
Any other public comment? Seeing none, close public comment. Any other director comment? Okay, we will move to water resources report. Any questions? We'll come back. Any public comments on that? I mean, we did have the one on the rain. Any other public comments?
I measured over 60 inches since October, whenever it started raining, October, November. And that's a high average for this, for us.
Yeah.
So we're doing good.
I didn't switch it to water year, but just for this year, we've got 27 so far, so,
From January.
Yeah,
Yeah.
calendar year.
Oh, so in 20 plus. So 47.
Was
Our snowpack generally gone now?
closing public comment? Okay, directors. Yeah, snowpack's been gone for a while, and I think if you looked at the red line urban water management plan, I think we average 50.96 inches per water year, so I guess we're above average. Okay, any other comments? If not, we will move on to the general manager's report.
I have nothing to add, just what's in the report is all I have.
Any director comments or questions? Open up public comment, Sherry?
Okay, the CMUA
Yes,
is.
California Municipal Utilities Association.
And then NWRA is National Water.
Source Association.
Okay.
Any other public comment? Closing public comment? Director comments, okay. Seeing none, we will move to committee's report. Irrigation is Christie is online. We will open it up to President McKay.
I'm a president now, not just a chair.
All right, okay, Chair
Thank you for the promotion. Okay, the irrigation committee agendas have moved to a format that includes current and ongoing issues related to the irrigation system, with the premise that if no update is to be had, we just move on to the next topic. At present, many of our agenda items receive only status updates from GPUD staff. Such updates were made at the last committee meeting for the irrigation applications that have been received to date, a review of the current and projected water resources that would affect the 2026 season dates that we recommended to the board. Status of I'm sorry?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
We hear you, we just don't see you anymore.
You don't see me anymore?
Come back.
There you are. We got you.
Full screen.
Oh.
Well, it's that, rural internet that we all have, right? Sorry. The status of the residential pond fire mapping system, which was included in the irrigation service customer survey last fall, and the status of the LAFCO parcel negotiations. More than an update, a longer discussion ensued about the urban water management plan, water transfer as it relates to irrigation service, and a detailed discussion on ways to increase irrigation water sales focused on informational postcards presented by member Rena Lowry and myself that was presented to those present in person at the meeting. And I apologize for not including that in the informational packet at the time. It will be in our next meeting's packet. It was received favorably with comments on what information to include, distribution issues, and how some of the information could be incorporated onto the GPUD website. Following the meeting, I did work with Taylor to make website changes that incorporated some of the postcards information and formatting and such. A revised version, as I said, will be included in our next meeting. Lastly, the ongoing Cherry Acres issue, the problems were discussed again. They've been discussed at numerous meetings. But since the committee has no jurisdiction to act on it, we voted unanimously to request that the staff put together cost and benefits analyses for the various solutions to the problem and present such to the board of directors to arrive at a more permanent solution than ongoing staff maintenance of the site. I also, in checking the website, I see that there's a notice on the homepage for the vacancies on the finance committee, but I saw nothing about the vacancies on the irrigation committee. And I would like to request that a similar style presentation be made on that rolling thing on the front, on the homepage for the irrigation. I'm sorry, my words, for the irrigation openings as well. Any questions?
How many openings do you have now on it?
3.
3, okay. And were you considering Fran's husband? Did he
Thank you for
submit an
that
application?
question. Thank you for that question.
He's the one who resigned, Fran, so we're not sure.
All right, so
He
we'll see if
Dan.
she resigned, but he put in a letter that says if we needed, he'd be interested, so we could reach out to him to see if he wants him to put in an application. Okay, Director Seaman?
One, I gave comments since I was on Zoom. I didn't see the postcard, so I gave my comments to Ann to share with the rest of the committee. Because there were some items that we really can't make statements, certain statements that were made. So I gave that to her. The other thing is I received an email, as I believe as an irrigation customer, requesting information if I was interested in having my pond become part of that fire system.
I do too.
So that is out there. So I urge anybody who is interested to reach out to Christy or reach out to the fire guys and we can get that information to them.
So if I could just add to that, we did put the contact information for Richard Galvin, who is the gentleman at the fire department for both Garden Valley and Georgetown, who is in charge of kind of doing the mapping system. So you can totally tell us, but you could save one step and just go right to him because he'd be able to come out directly.
Well, we have the phone number for them, so if they,
It was his phone. It was all his contact
I
information.
understand that, but if some public wanted to get that phone number and didn't have it,
Yeah, absolutely.
then they could reach out to, for sure, Christy or myself, and we could get that phone number to them.
Thank you. Any other
Okay.
comments? See if there's any other director comments? Seeing none, we'll go to public comments. I'll start with our irrigation person, Ms. Wright.
I was just gonna, if it's okay for me to ask Christy, would it be helpful if I PDF those documents that Donna handed me this at the beginning of this meeting and send them to you? Is that allowable?
Yes, you can send anything to
It's
Chris.
allowable.
Yes,
Yes. thank you.
Fine.
because
Okay.
that's just a form that, if it had been in the packet, I would have been able to give you the
Yeah.
comments right away.
Yes, there were some very good comments that I think that the other members would, it'd be good if they could have a heads up too. So I'll PDF it and send it to Christie.
Thank you, Ms. Wright. Mr. Dow?
And as I said, the revised version will be on the agenda for next week's meeting for the irrigation.
I got a couple of questions and a comment. How many customers have we lost this season in irrigation?
18 or 20.
How many inches?
This season?
I'd have to get back to you. I don't have it off the top of my head.
We went over it when we did the last one. I believe it was somewhere between 40 to 50 miners inches, something like that.
remember the exact.
And
It was like 51
since we raised the rates 5 years ago. I mean, it's like
It's,
unbelievable.
So we get various reasons why people believe it's not,
It's because the rates are too high.
Yeah.
that's part of it. I mean,
If we lower, you ever think about lowering the rates and then
there,
going and talking to these
there's a
customers?
plan and
And bring them in and get them in here, this room right here and say, hey, we need
Remember
you, we
what they
need you.
said.
Cause I went by Garden Valley, the back roads and I saw the ditch over there flowing and I started thinking about this. All that water's going down the ditch and it ain't going to people. It's going right over the hill and down into the river. We're wasting water. We need to get it to these customers and you need to lower the rates to get people to put it into their yards or whatever they do with it, water their plants. So talk to these people and get lower rates.
thank you, Mr. Dowd, and
I get it, I know.
bring that to the finance committee or irrigation committee, but there are
Would you-
plans for it.
Would he like to join the irrigation committee?
I
Uh,
live in town here.
he's not an
We have
irrigation,
openings.
he's not an irrigation customer, so unfortunately, he can attend the meetings and provide plenty of
Okay.
comments.
You want
Okay.
finance?
Get this man an irrigation hookup.
Cherie?
I think also having to put in that over $1,000 backflow device was a big factor. I mean, at first it was the prices, but now it's that.
Yeah, that's.
Well, those all
that's-
happen at the same time.
I don't know, in a few years.
That's a state requirement, so
Yeah,
That was
Yeah,
one
I
of the
Doesn't make
things
any
that-
difference. It's still a factor.
yes, we understand, yeah, it's a factor.
I believe that we came up with, you guys came up with something where we were gonna try to have a kind of a loan program to get those irrigation, to get those backflow preventers in.
Oh, we're working on it.
That's what I'm saying. That's in the works right now.
Yeah, we're working on something similar to the wastewater treatment
Mhm.
facilities.
One.
Have a septic loan where we can give a low interest loan. And we're trying to do something similar for the backflow prevention installations.
And then the other question is, how much money have we made with the loss of inches sold, not sold?
How much money have we made?
Well, there's.
The difference?
I think what
Last
she-
year there was an increase of funds into irrigation, even though we lost.
Maybe we can ask that with the budget. This is moving outside of the committee report now, so let's.
Well,
put
I'm
that in the
asking
budget.
just to have that come up. at
We have
some point.
numbers in the budget, so we have a budget agenda item, so let's
We-
ask that then.
I will say we did see additional revenue. But I can't tell you the difference.
Yeah. Director McDonald?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment to Director Steve Dow.
Yes.
The board understands where you're coming from there. If you wanna suppress or discourage an activity, you tax it. If you want to encourage it, you reduce the cost or price of a commodity or something. But there are extenuating circumstances and there's also plans to address what you're talking about. So we understand.
Thank you.
you.
I would say it's in the works. I'll talk more about it during budget. All right, any other director comments? Okay, closing public comments. Okay, thank you, Chair McKay. Put you back down. Okay. Thank you very much and glad for your report and we are working with you and I do see all your comments and stuff and they are at our forefront on things to work on. Finance Committee.
Are you gonna make comments during budget or are you gonna make them before budget?
No, I'm just gonna make some brief comments, because we're not really ready for the budget. We reviewed, preliminary reviewed budget, they're being tweaked right now. We will review those, committee will review it offline before we meet with the workshop on the 28th. Okay, we've gone to a new format, there's some changes in there, and we'll see where we end up. We still have 2 vacancies on the committee.
There's 4 vacancies. You're a 7-member committee.
Robin,
7.
7?
Yeah.
So you got four.
So we got
vacancies.
4 vacancies.
Yes.
I thought it was a 5-person.
No.
You can reduce it back down. That is an option.
No,
Well,
they
we'd
need,
be
they
good
need
to
more.
get more people on it
Yes.
because we have able to meet have a forum for, I don't know, February, March and April. For various reasons. One of which is that you have to have people are available, but you have to have the forum in the room.
Yeah.
Which is a new requirement apparently under the Brown Act.
And then
No, it's always
Mr. Dowd has some good ideas about finance, so if you wanna consider joining that meeting, I know.
Balance my checkbook. I
Who has a checkbook?
used, 10 years ago, I would have said yes, but now it's like.
Easy.
No, regardless, and we've added a couple ideas here today as far as, let's look at the irrigation, let's look at the cost of that and review how that's gonna go and also look at rates again. However, I am mindful when we start looking at residential and irrigation revenues versus what we have as far as property tax and everything else, our operating costs are not equal to, they exceed what we get from revenue from irrigation and residential, as you know. So, it's gonna be a balancing act there. I'm also mindful, when I talked to President Saunders, the county went to a couple meetings. And the county is not doing very well. We got a 30, somebody says what?
25.
25 now, I saw 17, 25, I've heard 30. They mentioned $40 million deficit in the county. And I was surprised by that, and my concern is, and apparently it's not discretionary, my concern is if they decide to do a 10% across the board cuts, is that gonna impact our property tax and the amount of money that we have being brought in to the property tax reimbursements. So right now, I think that staff has done and the board's done a great job of keeping our finances solvent. Okay, we're not running at a deficit. Yes, we have, we are running at a surplus here and there. We also have, we just had to do a budget amendment because of the truck. I mean, who would have thought that an engine on a truck would require $100,000 repair, but apparently that's what things cost now. So, we're mindful of all these things. We kick all these things around, but we want to be prudent in what we do. But I think it's, the next time I'm meeting, we'll add to the agenda, I think the irrigation rates as well as, residential rates to see where we're at. Let's see if we can hit some balance in there. So anyway, we will be ready for the workshop meeting on the 28th here, 2:00. Anybody wishes to attend, that's what we'll be doing the budget. I do want to say that last year we hit the budget by what, 1%, right?
Right on,
Yeah, even right on, or I think we are off by 1%.
With an error.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. So it's a pretty rigorous exercise we've gone through, and I'm pleased with what the committee's done, and I'm pleased with what the board has done as far as making sure that we're financially solid. And that's it. Questions?
Thank you, and as just to echo what Mr. Dowd says and many of our community, one of the things we utilize our finance committee for is for the end of the year to find out how we can offset any of that percent increase in the built-in cost of service. So this year was 8%. We were able to decrease it by 2%, and we will look to see what we can do. And there are some things in this agenda item which can also help offset. So we continue to look at that. Any other director comments?
Oh, just that every once in a while I bring up the fact that if it's possible that current irrigation committee members want to switch it and also be a part of the finance committee if they're service minded and gun ho and like Ann over there.
Well, like
Jerry and Steve, can we also double?
He's busy.
That's a good point. I mean, what we will do is when we do have irrigation on the agenda, we can extend an invitation to any of those irrigation committee members that want to attend to provide any updates on it.
You may not be able to balance a checkbook or anything like Mr. Dowd, but you could think, if you're just in the community and a user of the service, you add that depth and breadth and critical thinking, right? Like you. So anyway, just a thought.
Okay, any public comment? Gary?
Yeah, I just have a comment on the property taxes. There's a set formula under Prop 13. They can't change it. The state can, but the county has to divvy it out. So we get our amount. But I think the state took it like, what, 15 years ago? They took it. But it's assessment.
Not the same as the county, so.
Yeah.
I just wanted, the reason I raised, I just wanna be mindful that, because we're coasting along thinking that money's gonna be coming in and we're counting on that. That may not happen. And it's just, it's worrisome. We try very hard, and Nick knows this. On discretionary costs, we look at those very, very carefully. Do we really need to spend the money? A lot of what we look at is fixed. Can't do anything about taxes. Even Sheree knows because they attend the meetings, and can't do anything about the unfunded liability. We're gonna be looking at some possible options, but these are just costs that are thrown on us. And, we just have to figure out what to do with that. The discretionary stuff that we can make a difference on, we do look at those things. We look at them very carefully. And,
I have a question.
No public, you have to hold on.
Oh, so
Any other public comment? Okay, thank you. Closing public comment. And before going to Director McDonald, yep, I did bring that up at the finance committee. Well, you were there, so you heard that I brought up the property tax was kind of first. So I did bring that up if you were able to hear it. Director McDonald?
I was just curious if that 1% rounding error accuracy included, was it in that same time frame with the $100,000 truck engine replacement?
that's this year, was that?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
We-
Was that this year?
It allows, we have a built-in reserve, emergency reserve, so the emergency reserve would cover that. Any other board comments? Okay, seeing none, that moves us to the first action item, so number 11, legislative.
So, Mr. President, we do have Justin Caparuso from Mountain County's on the Zoom,
Okay.
so if you want to go to him first, that'd be advantageous because he does have a other engagement he's at right now.
Okay, perfect.
And also,
So,
With that,
so.
you got Dawn up there.
yeah, they're gonna do a short update.
So if you see in your action items that came today, we do have, there is a support request from Mountain Counties for California United Water. And we do have the executive director from Mountain Counties, Justin Caparuso, online, so I will pass it to him to provide an update. Thank you for being available, Justin.
Oh, thank you for having me. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. I apologize. I'm going to remain off camera. I've just stepped out of the California Water Plan Advisory Committee meeting to join you guys. So again, Justin Caparuso, Executive Director for the Mountain Counties Water Resources Association, of which your agency is not only an active member, but I'm grateful to have two of your directors serving in our organization, Director Seaman on our board and Chair Saunders as our legislative chair. So thank you both for your participation and your the time you devote to the important work that I think Mountain Counties is doing. In terms of the agenda item here, Mountain Counties has been working for over a decade on behalf of its members and the Sierra Nevada region that it represents to improve collaboration and support for legislative proposals and resources being diverted to the mountain counties from the rest of the state, and getting legislative support and collaboration from specifically urban and Southern California organizations, agencies, and representatives. It's no surprise that Mountain County region like ours is unique in terms of water service delivery and has a lot of unique challenges that it faces in executing its obligations, only made more challenging by regulations and wildfire and many other issues that pop up that prove to be challenging for us to just get our jobs done. Our engagement at over the last decade to kind of improve relationships with Southern California resulted in a partnership called California United Water. And that partnership is the Mountain Counties Water Resources Association, the Bay Area Water Supply Conservation Agency, Mesa Water District from Orange County, and the Urban Water Institute. Over the years, we've held a number of conferences and events spread throughout the state, several held up north, and then, of course, in the Bay Area and Southern California. This year, we are really proud and excited to announce that we have partnered with Urban Water Institute to be able to have programming and an event and a conference within their conference. They have given us a half day of their program space for us to hold a California United Water workshop and conference. This will be the first of its kind, and Mountain Counties is determined and committed to making this a huge success and committed to working with our members to ensure that we have a showing down in Southern California specifically for this event. We're in the process now of early stages of sketching out what that program is going to look like, but I can tell you some of the main themes are going to include affordability, infrastructure, wildfire climate resilience, and many others based on the issues that are impacting specifically our unique region. In order to facilitate this, the Urban Water Institute has been extremely generous in covering event space and covering the costs that are associated with the Friday conference. What we're looking to do is join with our partners in sponsoring and bringing together folks the Thursday night prior to the conference for a kickoff where we can include networking and collaboration with the attendees of the Urban Water Institute, which are between 150 and 200 folks, mainly from Southern California. We're looking again to ask our members and those supportive of our mission to not only show up in force and attend the dinner that's taking place on Thursday night in San Diego, but also the Friday morning conference that's the California United Water component, as well as, should they be interested, the rest of the Urban Water Institute conference, which takes place earlier that week. What you have before you, I believe, today are the outlines, the sponsorship opportunities. And so I'm happy to address any further questions about the program or the alliance that we've created, or even Mountain Counties, should there be any. But I do appreciate you considering supporting this important event. I think it's really, we've seen some incredible momentum in recent years around North and South, recognizing that there are opportunities for collaboration that we're missing out on because of the concerns that we have that are specific to very narrow components of our water system. And I've always said, there are opportunities for us to collaborate, and we in the Mountain Counties need the support from Southern California where we can get it. I can tell you with the funding coming out from Prop 4, and we're here at the California Water Plan, making sure our voices are heard and getting Southern California and urban decision makers to understand the importance of sharing and protecting the resource that they share in is extremely important, and we're making our voices heard. So we appreciate any effort you all can make in supporting that effort as well.
Justin, can I ask you a question? Have you received any sponsorships yet?
The last time I checked, we were at, I think, 7,500.
Do you know if you have what is available for your sponsors? I'm looking at your sponsorship amounts right now.
Yeah, I just put 2,515. Go through all of them. So it's there's 5,000. What are the other ones?
10,000, 5,000, 2,500, and 1,500.
Correct.
And all sponsorship levels are currently available. And the sponsorships do include tickets to the Thursday night event.
One thing I would add is it's important to have collaboration with the Southern Californians during the Mountain Counties fall conference we had. We did have Metropolitan Water Agency up, and we did have a collaboration panel with them and Northern California Water Agency on some of the collaborations we can do. And we're rich with water in the headwaters and mountain counties, but our geographic area is so large we don't have the customers per area and infrastructure, whereas Metropolitan has the plenty of customers per infrastructure, but they're not as rich in water. And especially with the challenges that they're gonna face with Colorado River, having those collaborations where we can get infrastructure investments and support, and especially support for any legislation and funding that we put from Southern California will greatly impact our smaller rural headwater agencies up here. Any other director comments or questions? Director Stovall.
Is there the potential for new interested parties in a water transfer? Because of the location you're at, is there any way to get water to the Southern California members?
Oh, there's always that option.
Okay, because I see that as a good cost benefit of we may expand potential receivers of a water transfer.
Director Fisher.
I think this would be a pretty hard pill for me if it were not for being at the conference last fall with the representatives from Southern California and realizing the potential for this collaboration. In other words, if we can get together with other agencies and have unified plans for how to self-govern ourselves, that's a powerful voice to the governor's office, to the legislature. I can really see the fruit in that. Ordinarily, when we're talking ratepayers, strapped, sponsorships for a dinner, I see the value in it. If we go ahead with a sponsorship, I'd really like to see some reporting back on where these things are going. What's the tangible benefit coming out of these collaborations?
Yep, and
So
as you can see with the sponsorship numbers I put down, I was very conscious of that with our ratepayers, and you notice that I just had 2,500 and 1,500, so the impact on our rates are not going to be that significant as the two higher ones, so.
And Director, if I could piggyback on your comments, you brought up a very good point in terms of timing. The timing is critical. We are in the process of influencing the next administration and working together as a singular to come up with a voice that's consistent throughout the state, that we can deliver this message to the new administration is extremely important. And so you'll find, and you may have seen it at Aqua, but our agencies are looking for a way and a path to work together to the benefit of the system as a whole. And so I do think that the timing is really auspicious as well. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Justin. Any other director comments? Seeing none, any opening up for public comments? Any public comments? Seeing none, close the public comments. Anything else, Nicholas? Well, thank you for your time, Justin, and I'll let you get back to the California Water Plan.
thank you.
Thank you
Justin.
so much.
Okay, so any discussion on that item for sponsorship?
Well, as I mentioned, is the potential how we can look at resources that we have in water and the resources in communication, coordination, and collaboration in utilizing the water that we have. If we can increase a customer base, potential customer base in a transfer of water, there might be a return on that investment directly to this district, but also the bigger picture, as he mentioned in conclusion, if we have new administration come in, you look at all of the platforms that all of the people, all the potential governors are putting out there, and water is not on any of them.
Correct.
And we need, as you said so many times, we need a place at the table. And I think this is an avenue to be in a sphere of influence for the betterment of water for the whole state.
If I can add one thing to your statement, this is less of an opportunity to find a transfer partner and more of an opportunity for those partners in Southern California to see what we have to deal with and to see the landscape that we have, the trees that we have, the maintenance that we have to do, and find a partner to help us manage those resources. there are people who are willing to put money into the headwaters to make sure that the headwaters stay clean and safe and reliable. Because if we keep having fires up here, then we, at some point, we don't have water up here anymore. And the water doesn't stay clean and people in Southern California can't use it. So it's more than just transferring that water. It's how do we manage and maintain the cleanliness of the water up here now where it sits so that they can utilize it when they do want to use it.
And on top of that, Metropolitan was interested in looking in ways to invest in the headwaters, and then if we could get in front of the other large agencies like LA Water Municipal District and the other ones down there to provide them with investment opportunities for headwaters, I think that would be the huge, one of the huge impacts that it would have as well.
Another question, you alluded to the potential of having partnerships in both the generation of hydroelectricity and the potential of building what is referred to as Stumpy Junior. Is that one thing you're looking at as far as partnerships that we would share in a collaboration or partnership?
Yep.
I was looking for people to invest in our district to make the district better for our local community. And if we could take other people's money to build projects that help us locally, then it's always better.
Okay, open it up to public comments, sure.
Next question on that line, what's investing in the headwaters? Is it like?
So they want to actually, they're looking at investing in grants and providing like wildfire mitigation measures.
Okay, so clearing underbrush and.
Well, they could also say our project with the pipeline. They could also invest in the pipeline project and say, we're gonna invest in this because you're gonna end up saving water that we could use later on. There's lots of different ways that they can invest in all the different entities up here that could potentially benefit the local community, but also benefit them.
And then we wouldn't have any they wouldn't have any recourse, or we have to pay them, or like, is there any?
We make sure.
Pro or whatever they call it.
So anything would be a contract. If so, there's something water. They all want water. Something we're working on is we've done a lot to save water. So we've done a lot of canal lining, we're pipelining, we're becoming more water efficient. Something that we're working on is taking the water and monetizing the water that we're saving. So we've saved between 3,000 and 3,500-ish acre feet of water. We can, if they want to invest, we can then take that water and sell it, not like one time, but like over a long-term lease type of thing. So we're never going to use that water again, but it's water that we used to use, but we're not using it anymore. So now we're trying to develop a program with somebody who's willing to purchase that water. So it wouldn't take any water out of Stumpy Meadows, but it would be utilizing the resource that we used to use because we're becoming more efficient, and they will buy the right to that water.
What water?
Water that goes out to the ocean now.
Okay, so at the end of the ditches? It wouldn't be going.
You're looking for a specific answer, and I'm trying to give you that specific answer. There is drops of water that we used to use that we do not use anymore that spill over the top now because we can't physically use the amount of water we used to use before. And it's efficiency water. So it's called a transfer in lieu. So we're not going to use the water anymore because we're not using it anymore because we became more efficient as a district, and we can then turn that water into a monetary benefit to us because other people will buy the right to take that water out of the rivers.
Okay, so like evaporation, if you put in.
I mean, evaporation is a very small part of it. It's more infiltration, it's more loss. It's more, we become more efficient on just how we're operating the system. We're turning the knobs a little tighter, stuff like that.
Okay, but not from Stumpy.
It would not be a drop for drop transfer out of Stumpy. This would be a different type of water transfer.
Any other public comments? That's right.
And the question I would have is, you're talking about water rights. You know, that sets off bells and alarms in my head, you know, and going back to Mendocino. That again, we need to be really careful that we're not giving away anything in perpetuity. You know, We don't want to end up like Lake Mendocino where we have a mud puddle because the water belongs to somebody in Southern California.
I never said the word sell. You never heard me say the word sell.
But you did say rights.
I said lease the rights.
Oh.
Right,
So it's a long-term lease and it's done based on water that we've already used. So we're not, we used to use about 13,500 acre feet of water every year. We are now using approximately 9,000 acre feet of water every year. So between 9,000 and 13,500 is where we would utilize the water. We're not actually transferring that amount of water, but we're saying we're using this much less water every year. So this gap is stuff that we can't use anymore because it's physically being lost to the environment. So people are paying for the right to take that water out of the environment and put it into their system. So it's not any water that would releasing that much water from the Stumpy. It's stuff that we would have lost over the top anyway. If that makes sense.
Let's finish public comment before we go back and forth.
Goes into our environment, not.
Still goes into our environment. It just goes down further and somebody takes it out further. There's nobody above us. Nobody can take it out of Stumpy. We're the highest that there is. There's nobody. Yeah, but once it's passed.
Let's not go back and forth. Let's finish public comment and then we'll. Mr. Dow, did you have?
No.
Public? Okay.
No, I'm lost.
All right, closing public comment. So we're going beyond what the sponsorship is, but basically, some of the agreements would be to the water we have that passes through us goes down into the state water project. So all the investments in the headwater is to provide more water to the state water project. So helping our canals, helping our pipelines, decreases the water that would be lost to our district, which is available to the state water project. And that is the same throughout the headwaters. So by investing in the headwaters provides more water downstream to the state. So it's not specifically dealing with giving anybody water rights or anything like that. It's investing in the headwater projects to help more water be available downstream. That's the better way to explain it.
Correct.
Director Seaman?
Yeah, part of this I'm for, but a lot of it I'm not for, only because by the time we see a just benefit of going to all these networking situations where we're paying thousands of dollars for people within the board and or in the district to go to these things. It would be one thing I would say is if we were gonna give them $1,500 and then nobody else goes and we don't spend any other money. Cause I've been to a couple of those networking situations and they pretty much, the people in LA are pretty full of themselves. And you know, they have a lot of money, they have a lot of power and they kind of put that out there. And then when they talk to, you know, us little agencies that do have the water, they still aren't as nice as they should be. So I'm a little apprehensive to kind of going all out there, you know, it would be nice if we could help fund part of their project for this meeting. But I would rather see it be more of a meeting with the executives of, you know, Mountain County talking to these agencies rather than just anybody going down to do this.
Any other director comments? Okay. Seeing none. What's the board's pleasure on this? I know. No, it's an easier sell when we're doing like the regional events when it's up here and it's for us. I know this is the first time it's far away, so it makes it, you know, it's a little harder sell and it's a lot of programming stuff that we're putting in. So, I mean, they do give us the 1 day free, anybody that's going down for that registration, I believe, but that's this is more for providing money for the mountain counties to meet all of their requirement needs to program for Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, I think I've said what I believe, and to piggyback on what you said is that to have our voice at LA's table is important. I mean, they have a big voter block in this state. We need to have our voice at the table.
Yeah, and for me, I think, if we do have commonality with the Southern California agencies, I don't disagree with you. I think they know what power they have and they wield it. But if we have commonality with them and we can bring that commonality forward to Sacramento rather than a one-off trying to deal with Sacramento, there's a tangible benefit to that. But I want to see that going forward. These things, sometimes I've seen them, kind of be fits and starts and fade away. And if we're going to sponsor, I really want to see what's happening with this. I know we're never going to be able to say, look, we invested $2,500 and it gave us 5,000 back. It's not going to work like that, but I want to see these agreements. I want to see these things start shaping up into tangible agreements over time. I don't mind getting our feet wet to keep our place at the table, but I really do want to see feedback that's results oriented feedback over time.
Director Seaman?
The only other thing is I've recently heard that, there's an agreement with Sacramento, that came into place dealing with the water, what they were gonna give Southern California and not gonna give Southern California, and I didn't get all the information on that. But Sacramento, my understanding is they're kind of making a stand where, this is ours first, not theirs. And I know, we're putting a face down there. But like I said, when I sat next to that one guy from Metropolitan, clearly we were kind of one step close to dirt. So I'm not really warm and fuzzy about dealing with them.
And
We need a bigger,
we had a better panel the next day than we had at dinner. So at dinner was more, we're met and this is where we are. And then the panel was a little more collaborative, because those of you that attended the panel, and especially since we had the Northern California Water Association there with us too, that kind of leveled it out. And, this is our challenges. These are your challenges. How can we work together? Because that will come up in the legislative bill. Their big issue is groundwater and subsidence. And our issues are more wildfire and infrastructure costs and funding. So how do we, work together to make sure that we can invest in both?
I think another issue for them is Colorado River water.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing.
That's gonna change their landscape significantly.
So we want to be in collaboration with them ahead of time than when they are looking for alternate sources of water without us. So I've been looking at this years in advance. So being there first and with the this is what we can provide as opposed to this is what we want is a big difference. All right, with that, if there is a motion to sponsorship, I see it looks like we're looking, if anybody wants to make a motion and an amount, if they're interested.
I would make a comment on the support. Is it 15 or 2,500?
Yeah,
Those are the two that
those are the
were
two.
on the table.
I mean, you heard the other two are 5,000 and 10,000, but as you can see, we also are considering where we are with our ratepayers, and this is a first time thing and we want to see what it pans out. So we don't want to just, we give more for our regional ones. So we support the regional ones which are here, which we know it's benefiting us more, but we also do want to support our agencies.
I would support either one of those two, but to see where I stand.
Director Fisher, it may be on you for the number.
I'll give them a number. I'd go for 1,500, but that's a max I would give them.
Okay.
I think I'd agree with that. If we put our feet in the water at 1,500, if we see benefit coming out of it, we can put more support. If we don't, we can stop it. But I think, is that your motion?
Well, he was asking for a number. I threw a number.
I'm just kind of seeing
A motion 1,500 to
I'll make a
support.
motion.
Okay, and then Director Fisher would second that. So that's the motion and second to contribute 1,500 sponsor for the Mountain County sponsorship opportunity. All those in favor say aye.
Right?
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. And then I see is Larry on.
Well, we're still doing.
You wanna go through? All right, is Donna?
Just hanging
Yeah.
in.
I have a question. Is that, what item was that?
Hmm?
What item was that?
That's item 11 under legislative. It's in the,
Because it
it's
doesn't.
in the paper that I have.
Okay.
So it's after the legislative items. Is Don on?
I am on.
All right, Don, if you'd like to give any updates for us. Thank you. Don is our DC representative for our federal legislation. Welcome, Don.
Thank you, Director Saunders and the whole board, and it's always a pleasure to give an update. I'll be brief this time. I know I gave my more year-end report last time with you all and went on a little bit longer, given more broad strokes, but I'll get to more specifics. My colleague Greg Morrison's on as well. He usually is he's my good closer at the end, giving some maybe broader water policy perspectives, given his perch out west. I'm here in DC, just a few blocks from Capitol Hill, and work on behalf of the district, mostly with your delegation, and pleased to have Director Saunders with me for a series of meetings. I think were very timely. It was during the water week back here, Aqua Casa. We made the rounds, hit both Senate offices, one congressional office. And I think it's always good to be there in person, even though I'm here day to day talking to the staff. Just having the principals there speaks to a seriousness and a dedication. I think, as you've seen in your engagement with us over the last couple of years, it's, for really borne some good fruit coming back in terms of federal appropriations, which is generally our firm's focus back here. Good news so far is that Senator Padilla did submit, gets us into I'd say past the 50-yard line, getting that $5 million request in, which is the big first move. He only had, I believe, 35 or so requests to submit that of the whole state. So it's a good sign. We're not there. It's not final until the Senate Appropriations Committee cuts further, not necessarily cutting the amount. That all depends on the size of the pie. But, and I can't say, I can't look into a crystal ball at this point because we're really just a few days after Padilla put this earmark forward, but I think it was a very good sign. We did not get Congressman Kiley to offer this same project this time, but I just speculate that he's running as an independent now in another area, and it could be his emphasis was on some other communities, but nevertheless, there's enough bipartisan cooperation on water issues that the Senate offices do pick up the slack, especially when House offices don't offer. So again, very grateful to Senator Padilla. Not there yet. It's a nice, great start. Using my football analogies, it gets us into the, well beyond the 50-yard line. We're not in the red zone yet. That'll be in July when we hear when the Senate committee marks up, and then we're probably not going to have a total resolution to this year's federal budget until December, mostly because of the midterm elections that are happening in November. So we're going to watch it carefully. Padilla staff is great. Director Saunders and my colleague had a great conversation there, and Padilla has one of really the best water staffers on Capitol Hill, I'll have to say, and Greg Morrison and I go way back with him. John Watts is the legislative counsel to Senator Padilla. He's been serving past times. He was the counsel at the Department of Interior, Bureau of Reclamation, great history, and we're in good hands. At this point, I think we've done all we can do. The tougher row to hoe is on what we thought might be easier 2 years ago when Congressman Kiley got our nice $20+ million authorization under WRDA. And what that does is enable the Army Corps of Engineers then to fund the district's water projects moving from there. And through no fault of the districts, no fault of Congressman Kiley, it's just become a lot tougher. The Trump administration came in and a year ago, January, and this was the one account of the Army Corps that they've kind of not put a permanent stop to, but have instructed Congress, especially the House Republicans, to not move further with any new starts. However, we're not going to give up. The reason you hire consultants like Greg and me and work with us on the ground is we try to pull out all the stops, even in the most difficult situations. So General Manager Schneider and Greg and I had a really good conversation with your Sacramento Army Corps district a couple of weeks ago. It was a former Senator Feinstein staffer, was very, very helpful, gave us some good instructions on maybe how to separate from the pack. So if we do not get funded through this year's appropriations, there's a potential of getting into the president's budget next year, albeit difficult, but it gives us another shot at it. Within the next week or so, we will hear from the second big appropriation funding bill that funds WRDA projects. It's called the Energy and Water Development Project. Fingers crossed, I can't get anything leaked, nor do I try from either Padilla or Schiff's office. It's very competitive, and they also get a lot of instructions from their committee staff. So working hard on it. It's not as easy as maybe it was even 2 or 3 years ago, certainly a number of years ago. It's one of those easy to get authorized, more difficult to get appropriations. But again, great move on the Stumpy Meadows project. I think that's good progress. May not come in at the full 5 million. When all is said and done, it all depends on the size of the pizza. But that's, so that's where we're at on that. Overall, and I'll kind of turn a lot of this over to my colleague Greg too. Congress this year will be dealing with potential cuts again on the EPA side. Last year, there was a big threat to cut both Safe Drinking Water, Clean Water Revolving Act funding. Congress ended up taking it up and really not implementing a lot of the major cuts that were recommended in the president's budget. Whether that happens this year or not, we don't know yet. It's too early. They haven't had enough markups and hearings, but it's something to keep an eye on because it does help either grow that pizza pie I'm talking about or shrink it, and take it from there. So we're watching, we're attending hearings on your behalf, consistently checking in with both Senate offices. I got to see Congressman Kiley in person a couple weeks ago. He was at a conference. He was at an out-of-town conference. He's running very aggressively as an independent now. And in fact, he was speaking to a group mostly that was promoting open primaries and all that. So just to say, he's really very supportive of the district still, but I honestly believe, his focus is on a little different animal. He's lost his Republican Party status, lost his committee assignments. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on who's going to be representing the district in the House, post Prop 50 and, looking ahead to next November. So that's overall. Greg, I don't know if you have anything to stand from the more global end. Greg wears number of hats, not only consulting with us with the district, but as you can see with his name, he heads up a great association in DC, out of the West, the NWRA, and he usually has a great perspective on water reporting and all sorts of things. So, Greg, anything to close?
No, yes, just a couple of quick things. Good to see everybody there. Good to see you last week in Sacramento, Director Saunders, at the Aqua Conference. Passed you a couple of times up and down the escalators there to the conference. But really the only thing, there was a lot of legislation at the beginning of the year that we were really interested in, and I know that you all were interested in, the Farm Bill, Fix Our Forest Act, the Permit Act, the Speed Act. And a lot of that made it through the House and then hit a roadblock, just a brick wall in the Senate, and that's still the case. Right now, the focus is appropriations, right? Fiscal year 27 appropriations. Don mentioned some of that. The president's budget came out and gutted the SRF program again, 90% haircut to that. Zeroed out the Bureau of Reclamation Title 16 program, as well as some other aging infrastructure programs. Not a good deal. So we're focusing hard on Congress, hoping that they'll see that those programs are of value, just like they did last year with fiscal year 26, and they plussed up. Well, they didn't plus up, but they more or less fully funded the budgets for those programs. A couple of things that they're having a lot of hearings on appropriations right now. Like I mentioned, Senate's got one next week, I believe on Thursday. Senate appropriations on the Army Corps of Engineers and the Bureau of Reclamation budget, fiscal year 27 budget. There's another hearing this week that's kind of They don't give you any information, so I'm kind of, actually, no, it is next, that's also next week as well. May 20th. It's an oversight hearing from House Natural Resources Subcommittee, Water, Wildlife, and Fisheries. And the title of the hearing is The Federal Reclamation Program's Next Century. So that's all they have. There's nothing else on the website, so it'll be interesting. Next week will be an interesting set of hearings on those two items, just because nobody really knows. I'm assuming it's going to be related to drought because it is reclamation and they're talking about the next 100 years. So it'll be interesting to see. But really, the only thing that's going on right now is appropriations. Whether they get any movement on that and actually pass them, and those budgets, it remains to be seen. I know it seems early, but they're talking about maybe a reconciliation 3.0 now to deal with some of this. And if that doesn't work, I'm afraid we're heading into CR land, continuing resolution land, and then having maybe something done in the lame duck session at the end of the year, which is never a good way to do business, but it is what it is. So that's all I had to add. I'm happy to answer any questions as well.
Yeah, thank you. And I'd say those DC visit was fruitful. Number one, John Watts called us. That's Senator's Padilla Ward consultant policy advisor, and he did ask us to support the bill that amendments that Senator Padilla did put forward for the Safer Act to include wildfire infrastructures. That was helpful collaboration. And when we met with the staff, the staffers for Padilla's office took a whole bunch of notes on our hydro project. So it looked like that was fruitful because it did end up as appropriations, and Senator Schiff staff did the same. So hopefully we'll make it to the energy ones as well. I'll go with any director comments or questions. Seeing none. All right, keeping on, not too general. If any public comments, any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, closing public comments. Thank you, Don and Greg. It was good to see you at Aqua, Greg, and thank you for all that you're doing in DC. And hopefully the budget will true up, although the difference this year than last year is we do have a huge $1 trillion spending with a war going on. So they may be constrained in how much they can actually true up this time in the budget. So
many more pressures, Director. You're totally right. So. Well, thank you for the opportunity, and we'll keep you informed as these next steps. We're working very closely with General Manager Snyder, and we'll keep you well in the loop as well too, Director Saunders, as we move forward, particularly with these critical next steps on the WRDA core project as well. So, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
That did cover the federal updates, which was in the appropriations. The only action items we have left was one, the Senate bill that Director Fisher asked us to pull last time, which limits the ADU mitigation fees. And really looking at this is a bill that we don't necessarily even have to weigh in on. We could just stay with our bigger organizations like CMUA or other them and just, have them sponsor that. So this is something 750 square feet may not be worth GPUD's time fighting over. So that's one thing. The AB, so some of the things I would look at is one is last month we did support Assembly Bill 2568, and my recommendation would be to remove that support. That was the bill for director compensation. And the amendment that occurred was it's now only for water districts that has at least 90,000 residents within its jurisdiction. So it no longer impacts us as a district since we have 3,000. So they made it so restrictive that it's not going to benefit at all, even if we do go to a CPUC system. So I recommend removing support from that. Then the other ones was to review the support if amended. So AB 2215 was the state water permits, and I would just stay with support as amended as it is. They did amend a lot of it. I put the things in there. Some of the big things that they did put in there was, I believe it was in B and D. It says that, where is it? F, due to the unique circumstances pertaining to the state water project, this act does not set a precedent for any other permit issued by the State Water Resource Control Board. So I don't know if that's a positive or minus for us. And the other thing is they did change the date. It was 2085 and they lowered that to 2046. So they are making amendments. So I would continue to look at that. And then SB 872. So this is what we talk about with that north-south kind of collaboration. So this is one we said support if amended, because our big concern was the funding. Will this funding impact us? And the amendments they made was they put it specifically for the San Francisco Bay Conservation and Development Commission. So this bill funding now comes specifically from that conservancy. So it looks like they cannot use money from any other areas to fund that. So that looks like that funding issue was amended and changed. So if we do want to support SB 872, that's one we can change our support to, because it looks like it's not going to impact any funding for us in the north with wildfire or anything like that. Any other questions or comments on those?
One of the things I reviewed was AB 372. And that talks about the potential, I mean, it's just a bill, so it has been passed. Matching funds for water system infrastructure improvements, upgrading, upsizing water lines, installing additional fire hydrants connected to the water system, backup power, and I'm wondering if that does come through, there may be the opportunity for matching funds for some of the projects that we're looking at.
Right. And we already are in support of that bill. And
to me, that's a
that's a big one, yep. And,
our district.
And that one is currently in the Senate. So the other, well, we can go over the action items first, and then I will go through some of the things that are updated. So those would be recommendations would be no action would be on Senate Bill 1117. That was the one you pulled. We don't have to do anything in it. So the two would be recommending to remove the support for the director compensation, since it no longer affects our district, because it's the day we get to 90,000.
Is to sell more water on the divide.
Yeah, correct. And then the one, so I would remove support from that, and the second one would be to support SB 872, because that seemed to be a specific fund they designated for it. Any other director comments or questions on those two items?
I'm sorry, I missed 2215. That's already in support. That's why we don't need to take.
I would keep it as support if amended.
We're still working on the amendments.
There's no change.
There's still more amendments that need to come.
I'm meeting with the state water contractor.
Okay.
Some are favorable, they're moving in the right direction, but there's still a lot more questions to be.
We're trying to carve out something for us specifically, because if we do build a reservoir, we want to make sure there's no challenges coming from anybody at the state water contractor.
Okay.
And just so you know, Director, you have Larry, he has a hard stop at 4 and you're about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Do we need to do public comment? I'm ready to make a motion with all that. If they're
Only
good.
public comments on those two items?
Good.
All right.
A motion that we remove support for Assembly Bill 2568 and support SB 872.
A second.
Director McDonald made the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, seeing none. And then we will suspend the rest of the updates for the legislative report and bring in Larry so he can update us on the strategic plan. This is item number 12. Welcome, Larry.
This is his contract.
Am I in, Chair Saunders?
You're live, yep. So this will be to review the contract for the strategic plan. So go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank you. I've spent the last 2 hours appreciating and understanding some of the challenges that you're facing as a district at the macro and micro level. So very instructive, and I am looking forward to our conversations and trying to deliver a very successful strategic plan, working with both the board, the general manager, and the team, and most important, the constituency you serve. So last time, your suggestion was to go back and see what I could do with my proposal. You might recall I had a so-called option 1, option 2, and option 3. Let's not call them options anymore. But the real goal was, how could I bake into my work with you the possibility of conducting a session with our public, a forum to where the board and the public would also participate in the development of the strategic plan. So I don't know how you'd like me to do this. I put some legs on the 4 task areas I see that, quite frankly, I would like to accomplish between now and the end of June. If I sound aggressive, it's primarily because I am starting to wind down and go into partial retirement. And not that this will be my swan song, but it's really important to me that I deliver a high quality outcome in a very short period of time. When you engaged me initially months back, I had a little window of opportunity, but that window is starting to close, and I tried to put together a timeline that would hopefully get us completed by June 15th or June 20th, if you look at these 4 core areas. So would you like me to top line it as quickly as I can, or do you have questions about my approach? What's
If anybody
the pleasure
has,
of the board?
I'll see if the board has questions, if they would like him to top line it, or if they, everything makes sense as is written there.
Makes sense. So it's made sense to me.
One top line?
Top line.
All right, they would like you to top line it, so if you could just go over a
Okay.
brief overview there, Larry, thank you.
So let's look at the top line from 4 core task areas, right? Task area number 1 will be the engagement with senior staff of the district. And part of what I would need to accomplish between now and May 25th is working with the general manager, the staff, and looking at the current strategic plan that's been augmented. The 2024 plan has been augmented somewhat with additional ideas or focus areas or suggestions. I want to take that document, summarize it, and then use that to really achieve what's going to be 1.4, and that is we already have scheduled meetings, one-on-one meetings with each of the board members. I still have 1 to go, that would occur on May 26th. And my goal would be to send out the proposed strategic plan ideas and augmentations, along with some specific questions I will be asking each board member. And the primary goal of these meetings, and they're focused yet flexible, is to really get, the thoughts from each board member on what is important, where should the focus areas be. And that will essentially allow me at the end of these sessions, which I hope to complete by the 26th of May, to then take these data points that have come in from each one of the board members. And again, honoring the Brown Act, I would be reporting back my observations in the macro sense. Like, I visited with 5 different board directors. These were some of the comments that came in related to my question areas. And then I would allow the board to sort of weigh in once they see kind of the big picture and the general tone of where the priorities and focus areas exist. That essentially is what is happening in task 2. Once I receive that document, then I will go to task number 3 and work directly with the general manager and the staff and take the board ideas and suggestions and then put that into one document that would represent Strategic Plan 2030 iteration 2.0 or 3.0. Send that. So a lot of these conversations are occurring through email communications and the like. Once we have some closure that, okay, these are some good directions, it seems like we've got a good sense of strategic focus, I think you may want to use my skills to look at the current plan, which has 10, if I were to look at it at the macro level, I see 10 goal areas. I see a number of different terms like objectives that maybe are more along the lines of strategies, but I think there's a way to consolidate the framework of your strategic planning process to keep it simple, to keep it elegant, to keep it focused, to keep it measurable, to keep it realistic. And that's why I'm hoping before the end of May, maybe first part of June, that we will have a possible template, a draft that will accomplish this. Then the next step, the final task would be for me to come in and arrange an evening. I think we want to really reach out to our public and find a time where we can engage them to come in, maybe a 5 p.m. onward event, where it would be a session facilitated by me, working in partnership with the general manager, having the board present, and then we would present to the public our best thinking, our top line of what we see as the key goals, the key strategies that we'd like to pursue to support these particular goal areas, and just some possible areas of measurement in terms of how we're going to get there. And just allow the public to weigh in from vision to our mission to these areas, and then have a really good collaborative, open conversation with dialogue exchanges between the general manager, the board, and the public. Hoping to complete that session on June 9th or June 10th. And quite frankly, working with Taylor is a dream. She's fantastic. She's responsive. She knows how to herd situations. And that would be my target to, hopefully have that session June 9th, June 10th, before the summer months start taking over and vacations impact our ability to deliver. It'd be very nice to have this thing close to completed by the 1st of July. So the net is, after we work with our public, I was hoping that within a week later, we would have kind of a final draft that the board could take another look at. And if they're comfortable with it, then I turn over the keys to the kingdom, to the general manager, and say, here's the draft. We as a board came in with the facilitator to focus on the ends. We're not putting the means yet. That's going to be up to you guys to drive the execution plan, the dates, the deliverables, the scorecard, the measures. But that would be my goal, to try to achieve what will be an effective facilitation process on my end to a plan that I think you've got a lot of the elements in there. It's not like we have to over-engineer this thing. We don't have to dream so big that we don't have the resources to, achieve a successful outcome, but that we really hit home on the basics, the fundamentals of what it is to run a district, and ensure that we get to all of our key strategic priorities. And as I went through this thing, I went back to the year 2021, and I looked at your strategic plan back then. I also looked at the survey you did back then that was quite impressive to have 492 data points. And then I looked at some of the issues that came up in 2022. I think 3 of the 5 current directors were in that process back then. And then I look at 2024 and some of the work that was done on their plan. So you can see where the red thread is in terms of what we need to do within the district and what some of our ratepayers are seeing. So to that end, the one thing I discussed with the general manager, I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to come up with some questions, if you'd like, that I could post on the website as early as this approval, so that if we wanted to gather data points from the public, we'll keep the questions limited and focused, but we'll give them kind of a runway between now and June 9th if they want to put their ideas in, and I can have one of my team members just sort of take those data points and see if we can put together some type of a summary document. But it's going to have to be something that I can manage within the budget, the tight budget we're working with. So that's it. That's a quick top line.
Thank you, Larry. That was very, very good and informative and covered everything in there. And I also thank you so much for staying within our district's budget. Being able to do this all for 8,500 is under the 10,000 top line, so it's well within our budget. And seeing if there's any director questions or comments.
My question comment has to do with, given the questions on the website, we need to come up with a methodology of getting that out to the public.
Yeah.
How, that's on our side of the table. how do we get that to the public, either through a email survey monkey or there's a number of options to try to get the results from the public as much as we can at the time afforded.
I'm excited to get going. I think it could be a very valuable tool. I agree, we've got a lot already from the 24 plan. We're not starting from zero. Might end up at the end of the day with something that looks like an edit of that plan. One of my hopes is that we also wind up with a front page, kind of a slide that we can hold up in public and at a glance without having to turn pages. Our ratepayers will be able to say, this is how our board stewards our rates. Yes, this is what we expect and what we understand from them, and see that clearly in one page. And I think this is the plan that can do that.
Yep, thank you. I'm not sure Larry does great at that. One of the things I like about this is the ability to have those one-on-ones with the board, have those one-on-ones with the staff, and the public engagement, which is huge. So making sure we have that public engagement, and also I really do like that having to post on the website to get that follow-up survey from everybody is a very big thing, and I think it can be done in the timeline, and Taylor's been doing great work, so we can make sure we utilize our executive assistants. So any public comments on this? All right, seeing none, bringing it back to the board. If there's any other comments, I know time sensitive. Any other questions for Larry? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to accept the current proposal and contract?
I make a motion that we accept the contract.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you, Larry, and that's all set, and you can start working on that, and I do like the ideal of having that post on the website, so you can start working with Taylor on that immediately to get that going.
Yeah,
It's already
Chair
working.
Saunders, just one comment. If you look at some of the surveys done in 2022 and 2024, you see that they like stuffers. Your ratepayers like stuffers. They seem to like emails. But we'll figure something out. We'll figure out a data entry point where we can at least have a very easy and simple access. And I have a team member that is willing to help.
Okay.
She's going to donate part of her time, and as a part of this contract, I am waiving my fees for travel and office expenses and all that, so we can stay within the budget. All right.
Thank you so much, Larry. Yeah, looking forward to working with you.
Good job, Larry. Thank you.
Thanks to the ad hoc committee for getting a lot of that framework in for us as well. So thank you. All right, thank you, Larry.
Have a nice
Okay,
evening. All.
Going back to item. Yep, thank you, Larry. All right, going back to item 11, I will finish off the legislative update. So they did do the federal, as Director Stovall talked about, AB 372. So watching that on the legislative matrix, I have the bills which are up for appropriation in yellow. If they do not get through the appropriation hearing, they will fail. So AB 1893, the wildfire prevention program, that's 514. AB 2026, the groundwater one, that's 513. SB 899, the wildfire smoke, that's on the 14th. And SB 1081, the waste minimal discharge, that's on the 14th. So by next month, those four bills will either pass or fail, and then the other three are there. SB 1153, that's the bill for that gives us protection against wildfires, so we don't have the liability if there's a loss in pressure or we can't provide water services because our infrastructure burns up in a wildfire. It's kind of, it removes the liability from us because we are victims too. The emergency response utility card to help our staff be able to get through and do those work behind the fire lines to make sure water service keeps going, and the PFAS grants, those are all up. SB 872 is up as well. Good news, the emergency preparedness one from Ventura County, the one that would require us to have all the extra reporting to run our reservoir based on PG&E power shutoffs and fire severity. That one failed, so that one will not impact us, so that one is gone. But all the rest are still going, so we have to watch that. And the LAIF one, Assemblyman Jackson changed the name to Pooled Money Investment Account instead of LAIF. Pooled Money Investment Account is just the overall account, which includes LAIF, I think, CalPERS, all the local ones that you could fund as a local agency goes through that. So now it's even expanded more than LAIF, so it's still a problematic bill, which is taking municipalities' money and using it, so it's kind of outside Prop 218 and questionable if it's a gift of public funds. That was all I had on our updates. If anyone had any questions on that?
Thank you.
Seeing none, any public comments on that? Seeing none, and there was no action on those updates, which brings us to item 13, to receive the Local Agency Formation Commission update from the general manager.
Yes, thank you. So I do have some news about the process that's been going on. And I did reach out to several members of the board as well as some members of the irrigation committee. Our survey maps did not come back they were very, very, very poor quality maps. There were several issues with them. And unfortunately, we did not make the deadline for the May 27th, I believe, LAFCO meeting. We are working on getting those maps finalized and approved by the LAFCO office before we go any further with what's going to happen with the surveyor. He was very well aware of their deadlines, and I was on the phone with him several times, as well as Adam, our operations manager, and trying to let him know that we were very disappointed with the process, and he understands, I think, where we're coming from. So, but the question, the update was supposed to be how much have we spent on this process so far, and the contract for that surveyor is $16,500. We have not paid that yet. We are paying once the process is complete. The LAFCO fees, we have an estimate of $15,000. We have made a $5,000 deposit based on that. We do not have a current invoice or anything beyond the $5,000 that we've spent. So estimated costs on this so far are approximately $31,500. We could be coming less. We've been told by LAFCO that it may be less than the 15,000. We do not have any answer for that estimation yet. As soon as we receive something from them, we will issue that to you all as the board members. The additional tax revenue for this project is either $62,000 or $63,000 every year. So the delay in the mapping will not affect any of that tax revenue. We would not see it until next calendar year anyway. This will still meet the deadline for the December timeframe of having this go on to the next calendar year's tax rolls. So that's our update. If you have any questions, let me know.
Director Seaman?
Yeah, I brought this up because what I remembered was that all we had voted for was a total of 15,000, and that was to include only the 5,000 deposit to LAFCO, and then an estimated 4,000 to 5,000 that was going to be in fees later. And I went back to the May YouTube video and revisited that, and that was all we had when we asked how much it was going to cost. The total cost was $15,000. There was nothing brought up about surveying maps. When we quizzed LAFCO, they said nothing. They only gave us those fees. So we have not approved any surveying costs as a board, and those were expended without our approval.
We'll just say the LAFCO fees is what we approved.
Yes,
The survey was not, but that is, I believe, within the general manager's authority, so if.
but we approved, that was for our total approval for this
Correct.
event, and that's what we need to reconcile the fact that it wasn't, the information wasn't given to the board to go through and see exactly what our costs were. I don't think we would change our minds, but the point is, we didn't go through the proper channels, and it wasn't brought up. And it wasn't brought up by the GM that we were having these extra fees as we walked through last year. And now we're into this year finding out that we have a survey fee on this. So we need to figure out how we need to fix this problem that was, you know, let's go with transparency. We didn't have transparency in this, on this item.
I'll defend myself by saying I didn't know that we had survey costs either until they were brought up by the LAFCO office. So
And what time did you get that?
as soon as you found out, when they were in the last meeting, we were requested to go get our own surveyor at the last board meeting. You were in attendance at the board meeting. You found out the same time I found out.
I found out that you had already hired a surveyor.
We were told to have survey maps done. I was also under the impression through email communication that those surveyors were going to be paid for. They were going to be done by the county surveyors.
So are you saying the problem was with LAFCO not giving us the proper information to be able to expedite and be transparent to our ratepayers, the costs that would be incurred here?
I'm not gonna put any onus on anybody. You've listened to the transcripts, you've listened to the meetings. There was additional fees that they said they were going to be expended. I am just doing what I am
When did you
told.
hire the surveyor?
Final contract went in end of April, something like that. Middle of it, I'd had to go back and look. I have a,
April of this year.
of course, yes.
It was after our April 6th meeting.
It was, I think, April 8th is when I finally officially signed a contract.
So the first I heard was at the irrigation committee, that survey was
Correct. You heard it with.
not on the board.
Yeah, but that was after the board meeting. And if you go back and listen to the April 6th meeting, the LAFCO official states that we have to have a survey done. We were under the impression that the maps were gonna be made by, I was told a county surveyor is what the emails as well as phone calls. So that I left it at county surveyor, but what was the interpretation was the county surveyor has to review the maps.
And I was under the impression that the county assessor and surveyor was gonna provide us with the maps and parcels, which they did, but those maps weren't sufficient for LAFCO's use, so then they apparently asked us to provide survey maps, so that's what occurred at the last meeting. Walter Fisher?
So I heard you say we receive, with the annexation, would receive annually an additional 61,000?
I think it's 62,500.
62,500. We also will lose some revenue because the advantage to the new ratepayers is they get a lower rate for being in the district, right? Is that true? So what's the
We will net out much more. There's only 10 customers and now there's only 8 customers of out of district customers. And we're adding 23 parcels. So we're adding 23 potential customers where 8 of them are customers.
So scale numbers, we would net an increase of, say, what, 40,000 a year?
I'm not a mathematician and I will not put that on the record, but you're probably close.
Those are irrigation customers.
It will even out because those customers, the taxes pays for the difference in cost.
Right.
So it's gonna net. The increase that we're gonna see is the 13 properties that are not currently in the district. That will be potential customers or could potentially be added on. And then kind of something that we discussed with this process is if we do lose a customer for whatever reason, we will never see any more revenue from them. So 2 of those customers have bowed out from the 10 original. They are no longer customers of ours, but we will still continue to see their tax revenue.
So what I'm getting at is, it sounds like we're gonna be into it for costs of about 35,000-ish.
Probably less than that.
Maybe less. And we should be able to recover that within not too many years of the annexation through the new tax revenue. Granted, going forward, there's risks of, loss of customers, all, you don't know how it's gonna, but it doesn't sound like it's gonna take too many years to recover our hard costs of this annexation.
It'll be recovered in year one.
Okay.
And I guess then the question is, what is our cost? To service those areas that will need to be included in the ultimate cost. Because these are only irrigation customers, correct?
So we do not have the facilities to provide water service to them yet.
Correct.
We may in the future. But those costs will be borne by those customers. So anytime there's additional, say somebody wants to add on to certain irrigation system service to their property, they will have to pay the connection fee. And then service to that property will obviously be normal extra service, but that's, I think, borne by their rates.
Any other director questions or comments?
This is an action item, right? Or is it?
It's not an action, it's just information.
Seeing none, I'll comment.
Just to me, this is another example of where the district is looking at investments that will return revenue. We're trying to enhance revenue for the district. And this meets that goal in my mind.
Thank you.
Yes, the reason it was brought up is because we didn't have the transparency, and it should have been an action item that we would vote on and approve 31,000 versus 15,000. Because our 15,000 originally was all we were expected to pay total. And that was a high number because there was going to be 5,000 begin with, 4,000 after. And now we're looking at 31. So I don't see this as not just being informational. I feel this is an action item that the board needs to address and say, okay, yes, we are approving this based on this new number that we didn't have before.
So the board gave me authority to go anywhere up to $50,000 in spending, so I approved this based upon my spending authority. In the good interest of the district.
We'll open up to public comments.
If it's in the budget, and the budget only has 7,200, I was told that, GM can't spend the money unless it's in the budget.
Of course.
Okay, so the budget shows 7,200, which it probably should have said 10,000. Because I'm assuming the 5,000 was in the previous budget.
Probably
Okay, so are we going to be spending twice for this surveyor?
spending,
Surveyors?
why are we spending twice?
Well, because the first one screwed up,
No, he's finishing the work.
the same person.
Yeah, we're not gonna find a different surveyor, and I'm going to be working with cost because he missed the deadline.
Okay, and then also I'm noticing on staff reports that the fiscal impact does not say where this money comes from. It used to, every staff report before had from account blah, 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 CIP or whatever, and
Sure, I'll note that we can.
the most staff reports don't have that. So that would be nice to see that.
Thank you. Ms. Wright, did you have comments?
Oh, yeah. So, I'm surprised that, so I understand about the budgeting issue and about the surveyor not being in the budget. I'm surprised that, Mr. Snyder didn't understand about the survey because it's actually on LAFCO's website. So, and I have not gone back to listen to the meeting or anything like that, so I can't answer that. But I remember being aware of that at the time that we started our initial application that was just for our property before this morphed into let's invite everybody in the universe to join it. That was one of the costs that we were told by LAFCO. I didn't listen to that meeting, so I am not aware, I cannot recall.
There was nothing on it.
Yeah,
Let
what
public
was said
comment
at the
finish.
time. I do recall I had, I want to say it was an email from LAFCO after this was approved by the County Board of Supervisors and said, and when I asked them, so what are the next steps? And at that point, they said, well, it's the surveys that need to be, the survey maps need to be, and that would have been in February sometime. So it surprises me that Nicholas was not aware of that, but I can understand there may be some confusion there. And maybe that's something that should be brought. I believe we have a liaison with LAFCO, and maybe that could be, I mean, it used to be Michael Saunders was on LAFCO, but if we have a liaison with LAFCO, maybe that's something that could be brought up with them about clarity, and maybe there's a different process when it's an agency as opposed to us as individuals trying to get into this. But at this point, we're dealing with the same surveyor apparently. At the last email I got from Nicholas said that this was going to be remedied by May 4th, which this is way beyond May 4th at this point. We don't have those surveys. I actually checked with LAFCO today. We don't have the maps. They don't have that information. I am hoping that this contract that you have with the surveyor, that we have some recourse, because at the very minimum, I mean, we're looking, now we've got 2 months before LAFCO meets again. Can we get those surveys in time for this? We've already got somebody who's not performing. And certainly the board should have some recourse as like, why will we be paying full ticket for something that's now 3 weeks late? That seems there should be some penalty in the payment there, and I hope that's in the contract somewhere.
Any other public comment? Okay, seeing none. Closing public comment. I don't know if staff wanted to talk about where the money was coming from. If it's anywhere there, we'll make sure we add it part of the budget.
The money is likely gonna be coming out of 5,200, 5,520. Professional services, we'll add it in there. We always do budget amendment. We will make sure that we're not over budget. And if we have to add a budget amendment because something didn't meet the criteria, we will cut somewhere else and we will add something here.
Right, yeah, I know it started with the rights initial application, and then it expanded to the 10 customers that were part of it to help reduce the cost of service. Then we did expand it to anybody that was previous customers or who were able to get into the district. So I wouldn't say it was everybody in the universe. It was 23 people, so it's very, very limited. We did approve the LAFCO funding, and LAFCO did just give us the number of 15,000. They did not provide the survey, and I wouldn't say it was the website. I know that the executive, the assistant from LAFCO worked directly with the GM. So if there was anything that was not provided directly, I mean, those two worked together to provide what was needed. So I will see if there was ways we need to streamline that process so that clients that are working with LAFCO know the full scope and breadth of what's needed, because even with my thing, it seemed that I thought the survey and all of that stuff was from the county assessor and not us. That's the way it seemed to be presented to us. So that was also a new thing to me too, to see that we had to provide the surveyor, and that kind of came up at the April 6th meeting, but it still was indefinite, and all of that happened after our board meeting. So we didn't really have the ability to weigh in on that until today. So now it's part of the thing. It's unfortunately that's the LAFCO process, and that's one thing I'll have to bring as LAFCO to make sure it's streamlined so that clients know exactly what's needed. So Director Seaman,
What?
any questions or comments on this?
No, I just am a little shocked that from May to April, nothing's happened and no one knew anything was going on. It just sort of sat, you know. It would make sense that if, you know, what we agreed to in May would have started a process, and the process would have kept going. At some point in later last year, we would have known this, not now. I'm sad for them, that they're, you know, being hung up like this for a whole year. I mean,
This is the LAFCO process. LAFCO was at our April board meeting, so this is what we were presenting.
no, but what I'm saying is why wasn't, you know, if LAFCO was working with us, the GM, wasn't there a constant meeting, communications throughout the year? This is 12 months. This is really bad.
Presented the updates to us in April, and this was not clarified then either. So as I said, all I can do is make sure that LAFCO streamlines with their client what is expected directly, so it's not as confusing. Because LAFCO is pretty confusing already, so.
Sooner than later.
Public comments kind of closed unfortunately, but
It's closed.
I
It's
know.
closed. Public comments
Public comments
closed.
closed,
Out
but
of order.
we
Public
will,
comments closed. It's not an open forum.
Without that, there is no action item on this. We can consider if you want to bring your survey action item, you could bring that up at the request at the end of the meeting, Director.
You're saying to bring it up again at next
Well,
meeting?
if you wanted
You want to
to,
ratify?
if you wanted to have it officially approved, you can bring that up as.
I think we should for transparency. That's why I'm saying that.
Agenda item number 14, consider the approving the water transfer with Westlands.
Yes, thank you. We do have a representative from Westlands on Zoom as well. Deputy General Counsel Campbell is on with us in case there's any questions. We did meet a few times regarding this. We are looking to approve a 3,250 acre foot water transfer in the amount of $315 per acre foot to Westlands. Some of the caveats that we have are when they would like the water, so they have capacity in July and November. They may have capacity other times of the year. Likely, we will try to get this transferred as close to July as possible. We've met about this several times. We've held a town hall per the water transfer policy. There was an ask last week from Westlands if there's additional water that we could transfer. Would we revisit this later on in the year? So I don't have it in here as an approval, but I do have in here that we could potentially go up to 5,000 acre feet of water. This would be a late season after irrigation transfer. They would like the additional water to be transferred to them in November, so we would start October 15th after irrigation season is over, and the irrigation season water is turned off. We could turn around and transfer the additional 1,750 acre feet of water within probably 2 to 4 weeks. Adam has provided some documentation in here about where the reservoir levels would be based upon the 3,250 acre foot transfer. With 95% confidence, we would still be at 14,879 acre feet of water in the reservoir by October 15th. We could reassess within September to see where we're at based upon the water levels to make the additional transfer if it's possible. Nobody is saying anything that's going to happen today. We also could assess whether or not weather has come or whether it's coming by that time, and we could have a better idea as to what weather we could potentially see for the year. And if you move down to the very bottom, I have included all of the costs and a potential net out to the district. So if we do the 3,250 acre foot transfer, we assume a potential 5% loss. That is from here to Folsom Reservoir. If we lose all 5%, which did not happen in 2020, it would cost the district approximately $51,187. I also included the additional transfer of the 1,750 acre feet if it's done. Legal review from Best and Krieger is estimated to be about $5,000, which he already has reviewed the contract. He will then, he as in Council Splendoria will also review the refill agreement through the Bureau of Reclamation. And then water transfer reporting would be approximately $15,000, which is a very high estimate, but I do believe it will come somewhere in the middle of below that. If we do the 3,250 transfer, we would net out approximately $952,562. If we were to do the full 5,000 acre foot transfer, we would net out approximately $1.50382 million worth, however that is. There is a CEQA assessment that's done with that. Those environmental costs will be paid for by Westlands Water District. This is already currently on the fast track for environmental review due to the letter we sent into the State Water Resource Control Board in January. We have some projects that we've laid out, some things where this money could be allocated. First would be to apply some of this to the $800,000 in rate requirement that is required by the cost of service. So it reduced the needed increase to rates by $800,000 for the next fiscal year. We could also apply this directly to the water tank coating project, the amount of $610,000, and repairing the Ford siphon. Ford siphon was a project that was put on the appropriation list. Unfortunately, it was not accepted. The water tank coating would also come out of the $800,000. So that is already being allocated for in the $800,000. So that would be a total cost of about $1.1 million. There's also expanded water treatment lines that need to be replaced and increased for fire flows in critical areas of the district. We currently are running 4-inch mains in certain areas, and fire flow recommendation of best management practices is 6 to 8 inches. We've estimated $500,000 for 3 years. We also put this in our appropriation, and unfortunately that did not go through. So the appropriation included the water line replacements and the Ford siphon. We did not get any of those appropriations approved. Lastly, work on Cherry Acre Draw Water Infrastructure Improvement Project, which was presented at the last irrigation committee meeting. This was a recommended ask by the irrigation committee. To fully expand this project would cost about $500,000, would benefit 10 customers in the district, approximately 30 inches on the line. There is a potential for additional customers. However, there is very little capacity on this line, and district staff has gone back and we are trying to look and see if other options to reduce this cost. So those are the costs that those are the potential projects. Now, these are not a limited list. The board could approve any other project that the board deems fit. This is just some things that I pulled down from our large project list that we have to do of potentials. So I will kind of stop here, wait for questions. Again, we have a Westlands representative online if you have to ask any questions. And I know there was a question from Director Seaman the last time was, what costs do we have to bear? And these are all the costs that are to be borne within the contract.
Plus the survey cost. No surveyors?
No surveyors.
All right.
Not unless Kitty wants her house surveyed.
Before we get to any of the directors, is there any comments from our Westlands representative?
Yes, thank you so much for considering this request. As you're probably aware, it's been unfortunately dry in California. And so our allocation is only 20% this year. So we're in the market of trying to secure additional water supply so that we can continue to farm in the district and feed the world. So we really appreciate you considering this, and we look forward to this partnership if you guys approve the transfer.
Thank you. And before bringing it to the other directors, is there a kind of agreement that the reimbursement to the district will match any of the transfers that are being done in the area to Westlands?
Yeah, so they have a global, are you talking about the money, the amount of the
So
transfer?
the 315, because I know, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll let, if you want to talk to it, but
I know EID's number now, which is higher than 315, it's 325, so.
so I'll let you speak to it, but we have a global, you use your word, because I can't remember the word you used.
Yeah, so we have a most favored nations clauses in all of our agreements on the American River. And so as soon as our board approves the action, we will provide everyone the same price. So it will be bumped up to 325 next week if the action's approved, yes.
Okay, thank you. Director McDonald.
I was wondering if down the line in October, we thought it was conceivable that we would do an additional transfer.
Mm-hmm.
Could we also consider that water being at a higher premium and we'd be taking a higher risk? We could get more for our money on that water because it is at a higher demand.
I think we could revisit that at that time.
So it's not, it's not.
There's no recommendation. I'm talking through what we talked about last week. We had a meeting last week. So I'm just talking through what we and Westlands met about, and that's what their request was. So anything is possible. I would say if you wanted to lock it in today, you could, but I don't recommend it. I would say that we could wait till our September board meeting is what I have planned to revisit this process.
So it's conceivable. Okay.
Director Fisher?
Yeah, I had quite a bit to ask and say, but one question for Kitty Campbell while we have you. Can you orient us to where Westlands is, kind of just maybe by cities that we'd recognize and what some of the major crops and uses of your district are?
Sure, happy to. So we are in the Central Valley. Westlands is west of Fresno. That's the most populated city in the area. The most northern area of our district is the city of Mendota, and the most southern area of our district is Kettleman City. So if you drive from Northern California to Southern California and you drive the I-5, you would be driving through Westlands Water District. Most of our crops include kind of a diverse group of crops. We do tomatoes, we do canned tomatoes, we do garlic, not olives, onions, almonds, pistachios, a variety of other tree type crops. We have some vineyards. We have about 60 crops grown in the district at any point in time.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Yeah, direct the questions.
Did have some more,
Well,
but I'm willing to take my time.
Do all of them.
So Nick, I have one question for you. We talked about, you can attest, I've taken a lot of convincing on this and you and I have talked quite a bit about it. One of the things I wanted to see if we could paint a picture of, and this came out of a question, I think, from Ann at the last meeting. This allotment, say just the initial allotment that we're contemplating right now, what would that look like in terms of foot of elevation drop at Stumpy? I know that can't be a perfect number because there's a lot of factors, but just, is it an inch? Is it a foot? Is it 20 feet? Is it, what in scale would this look like?
A hard question to ask because it depends on what time of year this happens. If you did it early in the season, it's probably closer to 6 inches.
Okay.
If you did it later in the season, it's probably like a foot. And at the time frame we're going to do it in July, it's probably somewhere between 6 inches and 18 inches.
And what's the normal size of the bathtub ring from spill to where it would just in a normal year would get down to by the fall? Does it drop 15 feet?
10 feet.
10, 15 feet.
15 feet.
Okay.
Yeah. The bottom of the spillway, I think, is 17,000. No, sorry. The bottom of the spillway is 13,000, right? The bottom of the concrete.
Oh, no,
Is it further than that?
Yeah.
I've only seen it a few times because since I've been here, we've had really good years. I've only seen the bottom of it a few times.
Okay. I just wanted to kind of paint that visual with folks. So it's not like, you're gonna see a swirling vortex and the lake's gonna,
There's not gonna be fish flopping around on the.
And just one emphasis, this is a one-time transfer. I know we talked about.
It's called a temporary water transfer.
Right. Temporary water transfer, which generates temporary or one-time revenue. It's good revenue. It's $1 million. And I wanted to kind of get back to Mr. Dowd's question at the very beginning. What do you do with that money if you flush with money? And this is just my commentary, why don't you just raise rates or lower rates? I want to see your rates lowered. I have a household of 9 and do a community garden. So I feel rate pain probably in the higher level of rate payers. So what I vote for, I feel as much as anybody. I want to see the rates low, but I don't want to see them low like this. Oh, you got some money. Let's lower everybody's rates. Oh, there's a drought. Next year they're back up. Now they're back down. When we see these one-time infusions of money, whether it's a grant, whether it's something like this kind of opportunity, I want to see it invested. And I don't want to see the board, hopefully, I don't think we're making a decision on where that money goes today, but I want to see it invested in the kind of projects that either reduce maintenance. Give an example, and I know these are just examples of where it could go, but the Cherry Acres project, Right now, I understand that it's a labor intensive point where that project is, that it takes kind of an exorbitant amount, but it takes an extra amount of staff labor to monitor it. And if we do a project there, we can reduce staff labor. If we do hydroelectric, we can raise revenue. When we get these one-time infusions of money, I want to see them invested in these projects that will reduce cost or raise revenue. So the rates stay low, but they stay low like this, not like this. You know, we're investing in our future in infrastructure projects that are going to lower rates over time, lower costs over time, raise revenue over time. So that's really what I hope to see happen with this money. And again, emphasis that it's a temporary, you know, there's always a risk. If this is the beginning of a 7-year historic drought, it could take us some time to recover that water. There is a remote risk, as I understand, that reclamation could potentially require a backfill of that water at an inopportune time. I think you've done a great job of limiting that risk as much as we can, and I don't think we're putting ourselves in a position where even if everything went wrong and everything dried up, that we couldn't recover, and we've written a contract that has an end date that lets us recover. So I think I'm on board with the transfer. But yeah, it's
Can I piggyback on what you just said there? Maybe I'll just say this to the crowd and I'll look at the person I'm saying it to. A good way to look at this is we probably will never lower rates, but if you can stabilize rates, you are doing a good thing. I would just ask the whole audience, when was the last time your PG&E rate went down? And then you can let me know later in a letter, or you can tell me after how much your PG&E rate was ever reduced. I don't ever want to raise your rates. It's not my goal to raise rates, but it is my goal to keep your rates stable. So utilizing the resources that we have here to keep your rates stable is something that I would try to strive for. So that's the best thing that I can say is a better way to look at this is let's stabilize our water rates.
And I would just add to that, we put it in our water transfer policy. It is 5030.06 for revenue received. And we really want to make sure that we are making sure this is the community's, goes back to the community. So it goes towards either capital improvement projects and projects around the districts that do deal with rate stabilization. We do have our finance committee member here, our chair, and he knows that this is something we will bring back to see what's some of the best investments we could do with this money to help with rate stabilization. So this is something we'll bring back. So there are options for the board to look at when we have this. So this will be something that we'll be looking at to help us when it comes to December, when we decide what's the rate's gonna be. We have a bunch of things we can do to help not only offset rate increases to a certain point, we could bring that down, but also start building funds and reserves, because we do see there's a lot of projects where there is no real funding for it. So we can use this money to start building funds so we don't have to take $500,000 to serve 10 customers or something to serve, you know, a couple of people. So we can start building funds to help that. But one of the big things is when we do water transfers, that was our big promise, is to help stabilize the rate. So we want to make sure that a portion of that does go into that. Director McDonald?
Yeah, I was gonna say, this isn't our district, but I've seen organizations where they count on a windfall to balance their budget every year, meet their budget. That's not us. And I've seen other scenarios like Auburn Lake Trails where you spend this money, this is what your savings will be, but there's nothing to show, no tangible evidence to show what the savings is. So by pointing out projects and inferring or relating to direct cost savings and or lower rates or rate stabilization, it's important that we give the customers, the ratepayers, to see this is the CBI cost benefit analysis. So I like the way that you presented it, Nicholas. Thank you.
And to keep that very transparent, and that's why I like, it's a good way to bring to the finance committee so the public can have some input and say before it does come to the board. So if you have any ideals, remember to send it to our finance committee as well, so it does get to us. Any other directors with comments? Okay, other comments? Mr.
Yeah.
Cobb?
Are we gonna have a new system to pay back? Remember the problem we had on the last one? I forgot what it was called, can you help?
The refill agreement.
Yeah, the refill agreement.
We are working on it. We
Yeah.
have a Bureau of Reclamation former attorney who's gonna help us with that.
Yeah, cause we need that. I mean, the last time it turned out to be a nightmare. They sold it as a bill of goods to us and everybody bought it. And the next thing you know, we're in trouble.
So it's, I'm not trying to have that back and forth. It is
It's back
unfortunate.
and forth, so we'll wait till public comments get them before we respond then. Thank you.
That's mine.
Thank you, Mr. Dow. Ms. Wright, did you have?
I was just gonna say that, that if we're gonna go ahead and do this, I really would like to see the Cherry Acres, project get prioritized. Because that is something where we're spending a lot of money to maintain a small area. And this has been an ongoing problem that I've heard about since the first water meeting I ever went to here. That, you know, the problems at Cherry Acres, we need to fix that.
I didn't pay her to say that.
Shuri?
Okay, so you're saying the fees are only $20,000? I mean, around that area.
I will defer to my
Okay.
counsel who's given me his estimate, and I already got a message from our water transfer consultant on what it would cost them, so. I can't tell you any more than what I've been told by my consultant.
Okay, because the last transfer was at least $200,000 to $300,000 in fees. And it was Western Hydrologics, I just looked it up, I know they got at least $100,000, so we're not gonna use that same type of.
We are not utilizing Western Hydrologics for that work anymore.
And then the attorneys took hundreds of thousands, it was ridiculous. Okay, well, this is a bargain if this is what it is.
Most of our work is done.
Okay, any other public comments?
And we really can't change the refill agreement, so.
All right, thank you.
I mean,
one of the-
contracts drafted, right?
one of the things to, Bill, Mr. Dowd, is since the last, water transfer, I created a list of like 40 problems with the last one. And we corrected all 40 of them, and it's, reflected in our water policy. And one of the problems with the refill agreement with the bill of goods we're talking about is it was never fully explained to us from our water consultant at the time. So since then, we've changed our water consultant. Our water consultant understands this well. They do many water transfer policies. They do all of the water policies for the district. They do our grants for the districts. They're working on our urban water management plan, so they're well tied into how water works. The other thing is, we're working with the Bureau of Reclamation for that, but we're well aware of how that works, and it's built into this, and so we also have a different water consultant, and they're under contract, so it's being covered as well. So that's why it's not reflected here, because it's part of their contract. Any other input from that from legal engineer?
No, not for me.
Any other questions or comments? All right, at this time, the motion would be to go ahead and approve execute the water transfer with Westlands for water year 25-26 for the amount of 3250 acre feet. For right now, it's 315 per acre feet, but we're knowing that it's a global partner update, so whatever they kind of negotiate for the American River, we will get.
I second that.
No, you first hit me.
Oh, so moved.
So moved. So moved. Is there a second? For Director Seaman, have comments?
I had a question because, you know, things are gonna be changing in this contract. So.
The 1750 you're talking about? Will that be I think
Water
that's gonna be,
purchase sale agreement that's in our packet that we would be signing.
What changes?
You're going from 315 to 3 whatever.
So it's in there, the contract, the clauses in there she referenced.
I'm just wanting, you know, when I see a final, you know, I'm in agreement with proceeding forward, but I would like to make sure we see the final. Not just the draft contract.
I don't know what she's asking.
Well, this is the final
25,
contract.
not 315.
I think it's in,
That number is subject to change.
it's in,
Except for the clause, it's, It's 315, but subject to whatever that number will be once that clause goes in.
Greater than. It's page 6 of 10, number 5.
Right. But we were talking about there's possible changes that can be taking place.
Yeah,
This
that's,
is the draft contract.
What changes are you referring to? That's, I guess, what I'm trying to find out.
Well, as we were chatting about all this,
What portion? Nothing is changing, but in the.
so none of the fees, none of the estimates of costs, none of the, everything we went down there, because huh?
Those are outside of that contract. The estimates that we have are outside that contract. That contract is what Westlands is agreeing to pay. Everything that we have is, so the contract had to be reviewed by the legal counsel. That's where that fee comes in. The water transfer consultant reporting, that is our consultant who's already a water transfer consultant. That's outside of this. That has to do more with the refill agreement. That's basically signing and making sure that everything is legit and legal, and then we paid our money, or paid our water back.
So this is our contract from legal.
This is the legal that reviewed this contract, yes.
so the contract is basically GPUD providing up to 3,250 acre feet to Westlands Water District for 315.
Let's say, I think that's already been stated what the contract is.
Yep, that's the
If you want, if they're requested to see a final version of the contract, once it's signed, they can send a copy to the board. I mean, the transaction is pretty simple. 3,250 now, possibly 1,750 acre feet later. Price is 315 or higher, depending on that final number in the clause that you reference.
Okay.
It's pretty straightforward. Is there anything else you want to add, Katie, to that?
No, I think you said it succinctly.
Thanks.
That cover what you're, I mean, I see all the other fees, then that's not part of the contract. So our contract is just the top line. And the purchase is depending on whatever the agreement is negotiated when it comes down to the purchase.
And just so anybody's wondering, it's 1,056,250 with, if it does go to 325.
Yeah, I have that concept. So the total would be 1,523,750 based on all of these different things if we do the 5,000.
Can I ask one clarifier?
Yes.
We vote. If we elect to go forward later with the 1,750, does that require a new contract or just a vote of the board? Because it does require a separate action.
It would be the same contract with a new number. So it'd be
a new vote.
It'd be a new vote, completely new vote. It says in the staff report, we will not vote on this. We will be coming back to talk about this. I do not have any authority. I can't do anything. It still has to come back before the board.
So it's actually like an amendment to this contract.
It'll be like an amendment to the contract, or we'll have it just a deal of a new contract with the new numbers.
Okay.
Because we'll be able to see the water year, the water situation, and the risk to the district to see if we'll move forward at the time. All right, any other questions or comments?
You need a second?
No, well, yeah, I need a second.
I'll second it.
All right, there was a motion by Director McDonald, second by Director Stovall. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion passes. Thank you, Kitty, for being here, and look forward to working with you.
Use your water well.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
thank you so much. We appreciate it.
It's all organic. It should be good.
Was well a pun.
And tell Russ we said hello.
We will. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All right.
Mr. President, I just want to remind you that we had one board member who needed to leave at 5:30.
Yep. So will we be able to do the budget in this time?
Come to the board.
It's up to you. I mean,
Well, if I have to leave, they have to leave.
What do you
What
think?
if you gave us a kind of a quick overview of major changes, because we will have a workshop in 2 weeks, right?
so the only changes that we've made are updates from the finance committee that they asked us to make. Jessica came in yesterday. She was out on Monday, and she updated some of the line items that had the formulas were not talking to them correctly.
They just weren't inputted.
Yeah, so we updated those. I mean, if you have any, we can totally do an overview, or we can wait. And you can review it, and you wanna wait till the end, we can do this, and you can come back and talk to us directly. It's up to you. I just don't want you to miss any of that.
And we're probably not approving the budget today, and we do have the combined meeting with the finance committee on the 28th, so this will pretty much just be a review, so.
If you wanna wait till the 28th, we can wait till.
So you can wait till the 28th if that's the board's pleasure to go over everything then.
Since we have real
We have real numbers.
we have real numbers now versus some of the, like,
Some of the computer glitches, yes, I agree.
Okay.
And I believe that's the finance committee's preference. Just to bring it back to the board, once the finance committee looks at it again.
we have a recommendation.
That would be my suggestion.
Okay,
Recommendation.
thank you, the rights. So, this will, be brought back at, we will review the budget again at the, combined, workshop with the finance committee. Go ahead,
May I
Jessica?
make a
Yes.
comment?
Yes, go ahead.
I took Monday's finance committee meeting at, what is it called? Transcription,
Mhm.
and I redlined answers into all your questions. Most, I would say 90% was Stonewall and Lawrence. So I have those,
Great,
and this is updated.
it is.
Yes.
We can just.
So there's descriptive answers on things that, you know, Nick wouldn't be privy to because it's above his pay grade or below his pay grade. Because me and Adam and the other staff that are working on the mechanics of the new software.
I will give Jessica tons of kudos. She has knocked this out of the park and I will be really honest. I have given it to her to drive the car almost exclusively and she's done a really good job with it, so.
It's also a lot of training, so.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want more than a few people in there because then you're just too many cooks in the kitchen.
And it's a new process.
Yeah, and you'll
And
rebuild
it's
it from scratch.
communicating with old process.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you want me to hand these out? Cause I have the transcription from finance committee with all the answers of
Sure.
what I did
Or
to
you just leave a pile, yeah.
update.
Yeah.
I only have,
Opening up the public comments.
Yeah, but the date didn't get changed on this, Jessica,
it's been updated on the website.
but not on this copy. Still
Did
has
you just get
December.
handed that? Cause I was working on it since 7 this morning and it just was finished before the meeting started.
Yeah, I got it at
Was
the,
that the long copy?
no, this is the one that Tyler gave me.
That's the new
The
printed copy.
updated, so she's talking about the March 31st date?
Oh, right here.
Page 24?
Yeah.
Okay, well, the funds are right. Page. Oh, revenues, yeah, revenues is. Not working well with me. The other reason why we have screenshots is because I can't get the data sets to. Produce the information in a pretty format. So it comes out in an Excel spreadsheet type format, kind of like the vendor. Purchasing report. And I have to build a whole, it's not like pick a graph and pick your information, you have to build it with code. So I'm working on that, it'll be done by the budget, the joint meeting. I need tech support and I have tickets in for it and I haven't had anybody reach out to me yet.
Good, thank you. Mr. Works?
I would ask that you send emails with attachments to the committee members, please. So that we can review that as soon as possible. And be prepared for the meeting on the 20th.
Thank you, Mr. Bunch.
All of the actuals are as of March 31st.
Oh, not.
The 12/10 was when we initially pulled all the financials from Encode. Into the new OpenGov system. That was when the first data import happened and it was hard coded. And I just missed the revenue stream.
We understand it's a work in progress, you know, we understand that. You know, it's converted over. I like the new format, I thought that the new format, as far as we get more of the financial information. I did appreciate percentages, when you put percentages in, at least to show where we're at versus the budget. But overall, I'm very pleased with the information. Just that you revise this, get it to the committee members, so either we'll have a conference call beforehand or.
We will definitely get it over to the friends too.
Any other public comments? Okay, closing public comments, and we said this is going to be reviewed, so we will close this item for the time. Item 16.
Yep, I can do this one pretty quickly, I hope. So we are planning a groundbreaking for our solar project. We are hoping to do kind of a little thing for the community. So we wanted to do July 25th, have all the board members come out, do a little bit of a presentation, groundbreaking. And then my thought was we could take all of our stuff over to the park and or the Grange. And we could do a little bit of a community festival for the community where they could utilize the splash pads. We can get some bounce houses. We could provide food to the public so that everybody could come out and experience our 80th anniversary together, and we can make it a nice big celebration. So my recommendation is that we approve July 25th for doing a groundbreaking / 80th anniversary celebration. And as part of that, I would like to work with the rec district on utilizing their facility. I'd like to do it at the park if we can, because they have the splash pad. That's going to be July, so likely 100-degree days or 90-degree-ish days, and I think it'd be fun to have some people out there. So I did put a budget in there between $5,000 and $6,000. I will do my best to keep it within that. I think the food is going to be the most expensive. My thought is to either work with a taco caterer or the Dream Burgers truck that was at the irrigation town hall that we had. So,
Director, questions or comments? Public comments, Sherry?
I would just do it at the 4th of July. Why do a whole spend money? I mean, just give giveaways or something. I don't think anybody cares.
And nobody shows up and nobody gets free food. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, you could do lots of stuff, but you already have a food.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
What day of the week is it?
Okay,
It's a Saturday.
seeing none, public comments are closed.
You're not gonna get Saturday because
That's the farmer's market.
that's the farmer's market.
Um,
I thought it was a Sunday.
It's the farmer's market in like the Garden Valley Park.
Yeah.
Till noon.
Till noon.
So
So
if we want to do it afternoon, that's a
we
possibility.
could do it August 1st. That's the other day that I had. So
Is that a Saturday?
school. It's also
Any,
Saturday.
any Saturday, they're,
When does the?
they've got it all the way through, I think, September sometime.
September.
Yeah, Saturday.
No, that's
Sunday.
good news.
So it would be if we wanted to do it after 12 or move to the Grange, but then it makes it more difficult to have the bounce house and stuff. We do have space for it, but the space is limited. I mean, the Grange with the park would be better if we could do it there.
We could do it Friday morning. We could do it Friday. Cause the kids will still be out of school, so. If you wanna do it on a Friday.
Can everybody make it on a Friday?
No, you can't.
Yep, so.
We could do it Sunday. We could do it on Sunday. That's always.
Sunday or Saturday afternoon, what do you guys think?
I think the afternoon's gonna get odd. I'd rather see it in the morning.
Sunday.
I'd say Sunday.
Not a Sunday morning for me.
Yeah, I would say a weekday morning.
I mean, you're the board. This is here for your decision.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that there was a farmer's market there, so I apologize for that.
Yeah, that's why I asked what day it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's,
Crumb crunchers will be available during the weekdays.
What is a crumb cruncher?
The kids.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Never heard that terminology before.
yeah, that's what he said.
So you all, I guess, make a decision, we can. Move to the Grange and then
This is in combination with the,
I think this is I was trying to do something a little bit nice for the community, something that was fun and that, celebrates our 80th anniversary. The farmer's market, I don't think having just a booth there was what I was going
Why
for.
not just wait until after the market's over and the weather before anyways? It's gonna be.
Then yes,
When is-
October.
Yeah, but you're still gonna run into having it on a Saturday.
No, it won't have a farmer's market, so we can get the availability.
And it may be a little cooler.
I mean, we could do the groundbreaking on the 25th and we could do the celebration a different day.
I kind of like it.
So, I would say,
We're running down this path again.
I would
Saturday
say-
is out for me.
Well,
oh, you can't do Saturday?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, what days of it? Well, you can't do Saturday, this.
Sunday,
person can't do
Monday.
Sunday.
Can I,
I'm not a Sunday guy.
I like the idea of postponing it into the fall, one for the cool weather. Two, I'm not hearing an idea that's fully ripe yet, maybe, that doesn't seem to have quirks or problems or issues. I think it gives us a little more time to
Or do it.
brainstorm something. Could it be combined with something else of public benefit, more time to
Yeah, I wouldn't
see if
combine it.
so like resource.
So maybe,
Do it in the evening.
maybe a Monday we're looking at now.
We'll do it in an evening so that
You can do it evening.
the parents can be there with the kids will be out of school, parents will be off work. They can come and have their little snacks and whatever, because we're providing food.
Yeah, we could do Friday the 24th if you want to do it in the evening, and we could do the groundbreaking. What time, what time, I know you have your shop, what time would you be able to get to the groundbreaking? 4?
It'd be like 4:35. I mean.
So if we did like 4:30, if we did 4:30, do we do the groundbreaking at
Be out
4:30? And then rotate over at 5:30 to the park? And I mean, I understand this doesn't sound very succinct, but I do, you know, my thought was to do something for the community that was just us, so we could celebrate the 80th anniversary. I know Folsom is doing something, their 80th year as well, so it's kind of interesting. I didn't realize, but this was, we wanted to put together something so that people could come out and see that we've been here for 80 years. We have this big project. We can talk about this project that we have going on. I don't really want to wait till the fall to do the groundbreaking because I want to get the project built.
Yeah.
And that's, so even in the evening, it might be better because it cools off a little bit, and the park has lots of nice shade, so.
So Friday, July 24th sounds good, because usually when we do our, that event, which is the, community night out, that usually starts in the evening, and there's good turnout for that, so we can, probably set an evening time. So check with the Parks and Recs to make sure there's nothing going on that day, so we can have it.
And I'd like to invite, I don't want to do any selling at the event, but I would like to invite local organizations to have booths, so Fire Safe Council, Fire Department, Police Department, Sheriffs, whoever, you know, wants to come, and RCD can come, and then if any of the, I don't know, if the political, you know, it's political season, so if you want to allow them to have booths there, I'll leave that up to your interpretation.
Pass on that, but we can have Marshall, and we'll get a list of organizations to invite. That sounds good. And then the other thing is, if we could have a good social media advertisement that can be shared among our community people to put out, and the board to help with amplifying what's going on.
Yeah, that's why we wanted to hit this now. We can start to, as soon as you all approve it, and we want to work with the rec district, let them advertise it. Kind of do it in partnership with them, because we were using their facility and they can help with some of the facilities.
So it looks like July 24th, groundbreaking and evening at the park, if it's available. Is there a motion on that?
So moved.
I second.
And make sure you give our general manager your time, so we make sure you're there.
I cut my time, but Sundays don't cut their time.
Yeah, so.
Come on.
So that'll be good. So we'll have Friday. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, that moves us to item 17.
I would, we changed some language in the irrigation ordinance. It had a resolution regarding a member of the irrigation committee. So I'll turn this over to the requesting director for any discussion on this. I think that was you, Director Seaman.
Yeah, there's a couple questions, and we don't have our operations man here. So,
You want me to get him back?
well,
I would. We have questions about the irrigation sub-accounts.
well, yeah, cause we walked down this path of having. And I remember when this happened, when we put this wording in the ordinance, and I don't know if you remember, but it was really kind of fluffy, that we were trying to figure out why it was even put in. Of this sub account thing. And the problem is they aren't sub-account holders because they are not named anywhere in the. They are not anywhere in our database listed as a sub-account holder. Like if I have a piece of property and I am renting something to somebody, they can go and they can get an account and pay the water bill. But this is not like that. This is just a word that's in there for something that happened years ago and they were trying to, I don't know how it's termed, make it right. What they did because they subdivided a piece of property and they sort of couldn't figure out how to hack up the irrigation system in that. And it goes into a pond that's in the middle of this guy's property that he hacked up. And now they're coming up with this word of a sub-account, which they're not sub-account. So what flags for me is one, our policy on the committee only says current irrigation water customers. It does not say sub-account. So basically I could say, oh, I'm gonna throw my hose over the fence and give it to my neighbor. And now he is a sub-account of my water that I'm getting for irrigation. And then they also, can we legally have somebody, say me, having a contract with the district by having irrigation, and can I sell my water to somebody else? Can we legally do that? So there's some more fluffy stuff I think we need to get out of either our ordinance before we approve this term sub-account. I think it was put in there erroneously. And like I said, in 22, I remember coming up, I think 2 of us complained about it. I don't remember if Saunders was in that discussion, but we questioned it. Because it didn't sound right. But it went through. So I think we either one need to fix this problem and get rid of that term because we have nobody as a sub-account in our district, in our books. So how can you use that term to put somebody on a committee where it doesn't say a sub-account member? It says a current irrigation customer, period.
Is Adam gonna be available?
He already left. He had his kid in there. Yeah.
Do we wanna put this back until Adam's available, because I wanna ask him, if we have, I mean, we need probably a copy of who's a sub-account, that'll be one if there is a copy.
There is no, yeah, there is none,
And
because
then
I talked to him earlier
The
about
other
that.
thing would be, that we would put in, if we do allow us to make sure we only have one, representative per diversion. So if there's a diversion where there's 4 or 5 people, then only one person from that, diversion should
Well,
be
then you
able to be on.
start looking at 2, if we have this kind of thing going on, does each one of those diversions have a, backflow preventer on it?
That's what we'll.
I'm just saying, this is where I'm thinking about, and I was talking to Adam about it earlier. And he was gonna look and see if there's if I as a customer can legally sell you water.
And does the other person need a backflow? Since Adam's not here, I recommend that we not go forward, because we're not gonna have any answer to this. I say we table this until, next meeting and when, our operations manager here, or else we'll just be talking to ourselves, which will be,
Yes, so that was my proposal, is
Yep.
get it figured out and maybe we're gonna have to change. Either our committee roles and responsibilities or our ordinance altogether.
Or the other thing we can do is, let this one person be allowed to be on their turn if we don't put it in, and then when the term's over, that's not.
I'm good with that, I'm just wanting, now that
We'll have clarity.
she flagged this up,
Yes.
you know, and it needs to get corrected.
Exactly.
Fluff out of it.
And we'll make sure it's clear as day and not clear as mud, which a lot of
Yes.
things tend to be, yes, I understand. So we will do
Talk at 4:30.
public comment, but it's tabled, but we
Well, I
will,
know, but
Can I-
the backflow pipes is the biggest thing.
yeah, that's,
Yeah, I
a-
don't,
that's,
that's another thing.
that's why we'll have to wait to talk to our operations.
Well-
managers.
And only one has one, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of tabled, so we're not gonna move forward until we can have answers, so there's no need to go forward. I know, I see Christie there, but
So
it's tabled.
two things, just real quick. Just to address the backflow issue, the backflow doesn't have anything to do with the houses that are further down the line. The only backflow that we care about is the one that's from our connection to the meter.
That was the point I was gonna make.
Yep.
So I don't, if you're getting, if you have a water meter, then absolutely you're gonna have to get a backflow preventer. If you have raw water on your property, that is the law. And if there's two sources of water coming into your property, non-potable and potable, you have to get a backflow. So yes, you are correct that there could be some potential people that have to get a backflow.
Yeah.
But it is that, however you want, everybody, as part of the ordinance, is supposed to do this as written approval to the board. So, we've gone back, we didn't find any written approval on this one, I think. We,
This was the problem, it came forward and it shouldn't have come forward without further investigation,
well,
is what should have happened.
I
But we're
mean,
now trying to recoup where we came from.
All right, we're time sensitive, so.
second thing is, Adam will not be here in June, so this will have to be heard in July.
All right.
Because
so-
Adam is unfortunately, he'll be on vacation.
All right, so this would be a motion to table to July.
One more thing, and one thing we need, I talked to him about is finding out whether a customer can actually sell irrigation water to another person.
I don't,
That's another flag, so that's something he was gonna go look into. And yes, I make a motion, we table
Check
it.
with all of this other calculation, make sure. Motion by Director Seaman, second by Director McDonald, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion, any opposed? Motion passes, so that moves on to our July meeting. We've already moved the public hearing to the next meeting in June, so that brings us to closed session.
yes,
So, is there any public comments on closed session?
What about 17?
We.
that was what we just talked about.
That just got tabled.
Yeah, we tabled that to the July meeting, and the public hearing for the urban water management plan was moved to the June meeting.
I was gonna have a comment on that, but.
Yeah, it's moved to June, so yeah.
Okay.
So closed session, if there's no public comments, then we will be adjourning to closed session, and if you people do not want to get around to with that, which I don't blame you. I'll see you in June or see you around the community. Thanks so much for coming up. Watch your head there.
Workshop on the. Get it?
Thanks for coming. Thanks for. All right. It is 5:49. We are returning from closed sessioning and reopening the regular board meeting. There is nothing to report out. Next item, any board member additions?
No.
I wanted to have a vote on that AFCO thing. And that's,
So, all right, so we want to bring back the surveyor thing just to approve that.
thank you.
And
Are you gonna
then
be there?
we would have all the additional things to bring back for the subathon discussion. All right, any other director items or issues? And you do have the stuff that was tabled that was coming back. So with that, we are adjourned.
No problem.
All right, we're done.
My card doesn't need it.